Hello, welcome and good evening ladies and gentlemen to another round of intense and rapid fire racing action in the one and only Next Gen Racing Touring Car Championship Season 6 as brought to you on the Premier Sim Racing platform available on PC, and that is of course iRacing, and this series powered by IMB Racewear. And well, what a round we come into as we make our way into round number 9 of 10. Indeed, rounds are running out, only 2 weeks worth of racing are now to commence, and the first of those is tonight at the one and only Oran Park Raceway. But we are here in Australia and bringing back from the grave the circuit that was decommissioned in 2010 and is now the site of a number of housing estates. But in the previous life, it was a locale where it was one of the premier circuits in Australia. Having opened up well before what was the 1960s, this circuit being the home to many a staple of the domestic Australian road racing calendar, including the likes of Australian Touring Car, is a circuit that brings together a unique element of where the narrow road races surface, many quick fire, what is elevation changes and direction changes to go with it, and some very tight corners in general. And all in all, it means that this is a circuit where it's all about qualifying and track position and then running nose to tail over the entirety of the lap. Being a unique circuit, we'll have a limited number in the world to include a figure of 8 loud, and whilst the circuit does loop over itself, widely regarded still as what is an anti-clockwise circuit, as the riders get ready to go racing around the circuit today as we bring it back from pre-2010. It is going to be a challenging one, no doubt about it. But as we get set and ready to go racing, we welcome you to this live broadcast from the circuit side, available on free platforms for your viewing pleasure. First, of course, we do have this broadcast available on the 2 official Next Gen Racing media platforms. Those do include YouTube at youtube.com and search for Next Gen Racing. And welcome to you guys and girls on YouTube. And also, we do have the broadcast going out to Facebook at facebook.com/groups/Next Gen Racing. And welcome to you guys and girls on Facebook. But we also do have the unofficial broadcast that is going out to Twitch. That's at twitch.tv/TX141. And welcome to you guys and girls on Twitch. And you may be asking, who is TX141? Well, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Paul Walsh, also known as TX141 or Britain a Spit, depending on what media you follow me on. Now I'll bring you all your racing action for the circuit side today and indeed over the entirety of the season. And our schedule for today, times in British summertime, that's BST, or Universal Coordinated Time +1, UTC +1. As we can see, in just under 18 minutes time, we make it our way into our penultimate qualifying session of the season. However, where it says 15 minutes on the clock there, we should advise that actually all the dates have recently been changed, or the times have recently been changed, and in fact we are going to see all of our schedule shifted by what is the best part of 15 minutes further back. And indeed, as we do get the update there in the fact that we do have a slightly modified qualifying session today, and more on that shortly. Well, qualifying is going to be 30 minutes in duration, split into 2 equal 15-minute halves, and then after that we're going into the first of 3 sprint races for the day. The first of those being 16 laps in duration, all of them being 16 laps in fact, and that'll be at 8:30 this evening, after which we'll be taking a brief breather before returning for the build-up to race number 2 at approximately 9:15, and then we're doing the same again for our final race of the day with a build-up expected at 10 o'clock this evening, albeit not without that all-important reverse grid draw. But indeed, a fascinating set of races to come today, and a very different circuit compared to most on the calendar so far. Well, overtaking is going to prove extremely difficult, but who will be able to pull it off, and could this be the foundation of a great end to a championship campaign for many a driver? Well, let's take a look at that calendar and see what still lies in wait. As we can see, we're almost at the very end. It's the 21st of May today, and we're at the Oran Park Raceway, our second and final visit to Australia. Prior to all this, we started off on the back of the 12th of March in 2024 with the Silverstone National Circuit playing host, a one and only visit to the United Kingdom for this year. And as our drivers got themselves set there in the United Kingdom, it was fast and furious and absolutely intense. And that intensity didn't let up on the 19th of March when we made our way to Italy for the first time in the season to the Autodromo Nacional Monza. And then we made our first visit to Australia, and that was at the Sandown International Motor Raceway on the 26th of March, and normally the home of horsepower and V8 supercars. Well, there we got to see our touring car racing class drivers and machines take on the circuit, and plenty of battling, but also some drama, particularly with a major incident in was races 2 and 3. But then we made our way to the United States of America, the first of 3 visits, and that was the Long Beach Street Circuit in downtown California. And the drivers got set in the what is the state on the West Coast. Well, then on the 9th of April, we saw some absolutely brilliant battling all the way through all 3 races. But then we had our mid-season break week, and we did return for the rescheduled round number 5 at Motorland Aragon, with the Spanish circuit there absolutely bringing to life some fantastic technical performances for our drivers on the 23rd of April, before we made our way to the end of the month on the 30th of April with a visit to the Watkins Glen International Classic Boot Circuit. And then we made our way back to Italy for the debutant circuit on our calendar, of course the Autodromo International del Mugello, and recently been added to the iRacing Simulator service, and on the 7th of May we got to see it be added to the collection of circuits we've raced at in the history of the NXTCC. GT. And then last time out on the 14th of May, our drivers made their way to Germany for Central European Circuit of the Hockenheimring Baden-Württemberg Circuit. And the Grand Prix circuit, absolutely fantastic with regards to the back and forth batting, no doubt about it. And well, we expect to see plenty more battling today at the Oran Park Raceway. And after today, we'll be making our way back to the United States of America, to the Sunshine State of Florida. We visited California, we visited New York, and then to Florida for the Daytona International Speedway's road course, the first time that Daytona has been on the NXTCC calendar. And the 28th of May, we bring the curtain down and will be announcing your champions. For speaking of championships, let's come into your championships, starting with your overall Drivers' Championship. And as we can see there, a gold medal next to the man at the top of the standings, Wojciech Swirydowicz. And it's my pleasure, ladies and gentlemen, to announce that after all the incidents were reviewed from both rounds 7 and 8, well, he is the first ever NXTGEN Racing overall Drivers' Champion to have taken the championship crown with what is at least 1 round to spare, and indeed taken it with 2 to spare, and by the best part of 416 points. We say a huge congratulations to Wojciech Swirydowicz, your champion for this season in the overall Drivers' Championship in the Audi RS3 for Seb Racing. And what a season it has been for him, no doubt about it. And he really has been the man to be all the way through and through. But of course, the pressure will be on him today not to let off the accelerator and look to try and bring himself on home, which would be another set of wins here and at Daytona in order to set a record in terms of the number of points accrued in a single season. But how high can Wojciech go? That will be the big question. But most importantly, a huge congratulations to him to taking his maiden title with 2 rounds to spare. But then coming to the rest of the standings, and now it is all, of course, about the battle for P2. And it's Benji McCluskey, only 2 points clear of Luciano Witvoet, with McCluskey on a run of form and Witvoet having a difficult time last time out. Mikey Dole sits in P4 on 707 points and is still nibbling back and forth between the top 3 and holding on to the top 5, with Jamie Dory there only what is a further 32 points afoot. There's Adam Dolan close behind in P6 at a Kieran Sharp, with Isaac Dower, Joseph Dower and Lee Horn completing your top 10. And more notable there, of course, that our top 9 all-pro drivers, but your leading Pro-Am driver is Lee Horn on 502 points and doing well to be inside that top 10. He's got the best part with a 13-point advantage over Adam McNally, and well, from McNally to Gavin Gardner, who's fallen to P12. Not the run of form he's wanted recently, it must be said, for Gavin Gardner, but still he'll have some late chances to try and break his way back up the order, with Alex Meredith in P13 ahead of Patrick Falconer and Reece Watt complete your top 15. Andrew Pike sits in P16 ahead of Nick Clemens, with further 3 points to Daniel Downing. Keep your eyes out for him as he continues to ascend through the standings after what has been a middling season, but you'll see more on how his season is shaping out when we come to the Prime Championship standings shortly. And then we do have Stuart Winus and Akram Zanoon completing at your top 20. And then coming on to outside the top 20, Jack Jeffries falling to P21 with 350 points. And the last couple of rounds have not been favourable for the Red Grove Projects driver, but further 3 points to Matthew Addy, who holds off Slamir Javosky, who we won't be seeing on the grid today, but we hopefully will be seeing back in the season finale. Sam Knowles, P24 ahead of Sam Smith. In the battle of the 2 Sams there, the gap between the 2 being 26 points. And it's Matthew Shevington in P26 ahead of Ben Altria, with Russell Fowler, Alan McCain and Kieran Smart completing your top 30. And a special mention to what is Ben Altria there and the full Team Motorsport team, and the fact they're all coming on strong in this late portion of the season, and we look forward to seeing what they're able to do today. But coming from the top 30 to Wayne Douglas in P31, the best part of what is 23 points clear of Luke Jones, with Jack Salford there P33, and a big question being sent over by DQ Dave in the YouTube chat saying here for a Sim Racing Collective win. And as Jack Salford served his pit lane start yet, we'll know it, and Salford will be doing that as of race number 1 today. Indeed, we do have 4 drivers who will not be permitted to take part in qualifying. We'll give you an update on that in full when we're getting ready to go into the qualifying session. But continuing our run through from the Prime driver, we come to your AM Championship leader in the overall stands, and that is Mark Sykes on 171 points, ahead of Shane Piggott and then Ian Manners, Marcel Fritsch, Piotr Jegozlewski, James Maskasgal and Duncan Rise complete your top 40. But outside the top 40, let's not also forget about Jonathan Collins firstly, currently P3 of the AM drivers there, and looking to keep Toby Prosser just behind by 4 points. Mark Kent there running the new livery on the car. We said he had it on the car last time out, but it wasn't visible on the car, but we should be seeing it today. But he's on 81 points, 1 ahead of Matt Emmons, as Harley Bicknell completes your top 45. And there's Gabriel Yilmaz, Daniel Fritz, Craig Tillerson, Mitchell West and Kevin Smith, I should say, completing your top 50. Daniel sits P51, only behind by 6 points there to the top 50, but ahead of Mark Redford, with Roy Plummer Andrew Holmes, Costa Continental, John Higgins Jr., Jack Bolton, Tom Delaney, Riley Sheringham, and Darren Doherty completing your championship standings of 60 drivers. But coming from the overall Drivers' Championship then to the Prime Drivers' Championship, the points are adjusted based on the Prime finisher positions. And as we can see here, Adam McNally leading the way by only what is 20 points as the back and forth battle between the two drivers, McNally and Horn, continues to wage war. And indeed, right now, it could go either way, with Horn having a difficult time last time out, and therefore hoping for a resurgence in form, and McNally meanwhile just clinging on to the top. However, it'd be rude of us not to consider that Daniel Downing now back into P3 on 790 points. He continues to roar his way up the stands. Reese Watt as well for JW Motorsport making a late charge of the 782, and Alex Meredith after that great set of results last time out at what was our previous circuit, and well, definitely shown at the Hockenheim ring who's boss there with that overall win, of course, in race number 1, and on 778 points right now, only 4 off of the top 4, and therefore it is a top 5 fight to be savoured. Stuart Winers of Track Scotland sits in P6 on 736, Ted Clear and Nick Clemens, as the battle for P6 continues to wage out, albeit he's got a comfortable advantage there over Clemens by 10 points. It doesn't sound like much, but indeed points are hard to come by in this class, and Matthew Addy on 711 right now continues to try and find his way back into that top 5. Out comes noon on 666, the number of the devil, some would say, and indeed the devil's in the detail with the organisation driver. Can he make his way back up the order? Well, I do think he's going to be missing at these last rounds, so we won't be seeing him on the grid, so therefore he is going to fall down the order. And Slamir Javosky not on the grid as well on 650 points. Well, that's going to provide a great opportunity for Ben Altrier to try and break his way into the top 10 today, ahead of Sam Van Olst by only 2 points there, P11, P12, and then Alan McCain a further 3 points behind, the free drive separated by only 5 points. Matthew Sheraton sits P14 after a difficult end to the race at the Hockenheim ring. Indeed, a few penalties coming the way of Cheverton, and he's going to be starting for the pit lane for race number 1 as a result. With Sam Smith P15 ahead of Russell Fowler, and then it is Kieran Smart ahead of Luke Jones, with Marcel Fritsch and Shane Piggott complete your top 20, and a special mention there to WS Racing esports driver Marcel Fridge, who had some of his best performances at the Hockenheim ring. But outside the top 20 of the Prime class, it's Piotr Jegoslewski at P21 ahead of Mitchell West, with Ian Maz, Jack Southfield and Doug Rice complete your top 25, and a special mention to Mitchell West there in the fact that over the weekend that's just gone, well, in real life he does serve as a mechanic and a pit crew member for a local team in Australia, and well, they competed in what was a 300-kilometre race of Sydney, and the team brought the car home. They didn't achieve a major result in terms of being on the podium necessarily, but they achieved a major result in the case that the car kept straight and the car got home, and it was brilliant teamwork between driver and pit crew, and Mitchell West being a fundamental part of that. And then P26, Toby Prosser ahead of Mark Redford, with John Higgins Jr. P28 ahead of Andrew Holmes and Tom Anderson completely your top 30, and then Darren Doherty, the last of your primes to have points against his name, 14 points to his name, and then Christopher Scenes and Jeff Banks completing your standings. But then we lastly come to the AM Drivers' Championship, and here we can see that Mark Sykes now holds an advantage, indeed an advantage that continues to stand strong of 235 points over James Mazesgal. And could Sykes today wrap up the championship with a round to spare? All we need to do is get a consistent run of results, and Mazesgal needs to dominate here today. He needs every point available to him. Craig Tillotson meanwhile sits in P3 as the battle for the third place spot continues to go back and forth, but you can see that Mazesgal now being closed up to a degree by Tillotson and Collins only a further 6 points behind. That fight for P2 definitely coming Mazesgal's way, with Kevin Smith only a further 9 points off, and a sizable gap of what is the best part of 130 points there to Daniel Fritz in P6. Matt Emmons meanwhile sits in P7 at 2 points off of Fritz, with Gabriel Yilmaz, Mark Kent and Roy Plummer completing your top 10, and then we can see Harley Bicknell P11 ahead of Darren Hills, with Riley Sheringham not on the grid for the remainder of the season due to health concerns, albeit I hear he's doing okay, ladies and gents, but just not 100% at this time. And there's Costa Continental and Tom Delaney completing the AM Championship standings. But now coming on to the team's championship stands, and here we can see NXTGEN Ping lead the way on the 1,630 points to the 1,511 at Doble Sim Racing, and the advantage has extended slightly for NXTGEN Ping, albeit they won't feel safe, and they'll know it only takes one bad set of results today to turn things upside down. But defending champions continue to push on, and behind Doble Sim Racing meanwhile is Semper Racing as they continue to try and hold on to P3, albeit the Sim Racing Collective inching a little bit closer, but the gap still standing at just over 200 points. SO and NXTGEN Gold meanwhile sit where's the further best part of 80 points behind the Sim Racing Collective, where to be fair it's 78 points to be exact, and then it's NXTGEN on 1,045 as their battle of SO and NXTGEN Gold, the sister team there, absolutely intensifying, only 3 points between them. JW Motorsport sit in P7 ahead of VB Fusion, the World of Racing, as they started to solidify that P7 spot. and the ongoing season-long battle with their rival team, then iRacing Esports and Goldwyn Motorsport complete your top 10. And from the 627 of Goldwyn Motorsport, it is to the 509 of Track Scotland as they look to try and steer clear of Red Grove projects, with Full Tilt Motorsport, Aztec Racing and Performance Link Esports completing your top 15. Ace of Spades Racing continues to hold off Grant WS Motorsport Racing there by the best part of what is 18 points, and in fact it's 22 points there. Let's get our maths right. And it's Whiskey Runner Racing at Banks Redford West Racing and Verano Motorsport who complete your top 20. And outside the top 20 for the 9 points of Verano Motorsport to the zeros of the following teams, which result count back to see the organisation and see Racing in P21 ahead of Virtual Reality Autosports and 287 and Motorsport complete the championship standings. But carrying on to our circuit for today, well, we're here of course in the Narellan suburb of the city of Sydney in the state of New South Wales in Australia, for it is the one and only Grand Prix layout of the Oran Park Raceway and consists of 12 corners, and while the shortest lap lengths that we see on the calendar this season, this circuit comes hard and fast, and whilst it looks overly complex when you look at the circuit map, thank you to iRacing.com for their brilliant simulator, the track maps that come with it, this is a circuit that is much shorter than when you look at it, and that's why we've got 16 laps, so an average lap time around here of 1 minute 10. But as the drives charge away for the opening corner, the sweeper into Coca-Cola corner at turn number 2, it's going to be braking for the opening apex of 1 to set up turn 2, and we could see some instants and close battles under racing conditions. And as they make their way under the Yokohama Bridge, it's then to the double right complex of Shell Corner and Champion Curve, where it's all about nailing those late apexes to roar through the King of 5 over the bridge of Yokohama and in towards the extended right-hander of turn number 6, where understeer is going to be your worst enemy. And that continues all the way through Foster's Dip at turns 7 and 8 before making your way uphill into Momo Corner at turn number 9, where again even a little bit of understeer can push you wide coming out of the left-hander, and it's going up for the undulations, the O'Brien Aluminium Dogleg at turns 10 and 11, while coming downhill and into the rising and braking zone of Recaro Corner at turn number 12, and after exiting the corner, you'll need to be careful about getting the throttle too soon, because there's no runoff area coming out of turn 12, it's a solid wall, and nobody wants to make impact with it, but the pit lane thankfully will be right there on exit, but nobody wants to take a trip to the pits if they could afford it. But then coming on to our rules for today, as always, this is a fixed setup series with drives provided with their setups ahead of each and every round of racing, and classes are finalised back in round number 3. Now, we do have some new drivers on the grid today. That'll be Dylan Mystery for Aztec Racing, and also Louis Hesketh for Aztec Racing, and they have both been provisionally assigned to the Pro class. We'll introduce them to you formally very shortly. But in terms of our sprint races for today, the Race 1 grid shall be set based on results of qualifying, that's a given. For the Race 2 grid, we'll set it based on the results of race number 1, so whoever takes victory in Race 1 overall, they start on pole for race number 2, and we work the order down accordingly. And the Race 3 grid shall be a reverse grid based on results from race number 2, albeit it's a partially reverse grid based on a live lottery draw from between P13 and P23. We'll cut to the commentary booth, we'll do the draw, and that's where we reverse the grid from. Now, each driver shall have one fast repair available in each race, and each race shall conclude after either the allotted lap amount of 16 laps or 30 minutes, whichever expires first. We are expecting those 16 laps to be spent first, given there will be approximately 20 minutes of racing. Unless we have a safety car, of course, and that's where race stewarding comes in. And we will have an independent race director as always stewarding the races for track limit infringements and the deployment of the safety car, and those pesky track limit infringements are as follows in terms of the warnings. The first and second warnings, there's no penalty. On the third one, it's 5 seconds post-race time penalty, doubled to 10 on the fourth warning, and then it's escalated to a drive-through penalty on the fifth warning. And those drive-through penalties must be served within 3 laps. Meanwhile, racing incidents will be reviewed post-round. And as always, we continue the theme of the success bars for this season, and as we see applied on a race-by-race basis overall and in the Pro class and also the AM class. And for qualifying in race 1, it's based on the championship standings going into the round. For race number 2, we update it based on the finishing positions of race 1, and we do the same again for race number 3 based on the finishing positions of race number 2. And as my voice always gives way there, well, as you can see the tables on your screen, we won't go through all the numbers there, but indeed the success bar has proven that to be something to hold many a driver back, particularly in the Prime and the AM classes. But meanwhile, for Wojciech Swirydowicz, your champion already in the Oval Drivers' Championship, that 56.1 kilograms does not seem to have held him back as much as perhaps it would thought it would, albeit last time at the Hockenheim, I think the 56 kilograms definitely having an effect, and we are expecting the Audi to potentially struggle here at the Oran Park Raceway, but more on that in due course as we do look to circuit side. And as we do, well, we do look to one of our 4 drivers who will be making a pit lane start for today, and it will be Matthew Cheverton who will be starting with the pits in race number 1. All these drivers picking up a certain number of instant points after post-race penalties applied, and therefore they are all going to be taking up what will be that pit lane start. And it's Matthew Cheverton, also Kevin Smith from Verano Motorsport, who you see they're parked up in the pit lane in the Honda Civic Type R FK8, the number 94 driver, and well, as he sits there right now, knowing that he won't be out there qualifying. We also do do have what is Akram Zanoun, the organisation driver, who will be taking what will be that penalty, albeit I do believe Akram not on the grid for the remainder of this season, and therefore that penalty will carry forward, I believe, into Season 7, should he be on the grid for Season 7. We'd love to see him there, no doubt about it. And also Jack Southfield will be serving a pit lane start penalty as well. But as our drivers get set here, a little bit about qualifying as well. We did say there's a different qualifying session for today, where it's 30 minutes in duration, given the tight nature of the circuit and the fact that we do have in attendance so far what is 43 drivers, and will this circuit, so narrow, so tight as well, and one of the shortest circuits on our calendar, and it does mean that having more than 30 cars out of the circuit is going to be absolutely atrocious in terms of how close our drivers will be able to get to each other before getting some qualifying times in. So therefore what we decided to do, we are splitting up the qualifying order in half, and it will be those drivers who do have door numbers of evens and odds that will be going out separately. And to explain, well, it will mean that our drivers who do have even door numbers, so for example, what is not Joseph Dower necessarily, but meanwhile, we try to find other evens, Matthew Cheverton, they'll be going out first, the 390 driver there, one of many an example, and after 15 minutes they'll be called into the pit, and then the rest of the drivers, the odd door numbers, will be making their way out there. So it will be an extended qualifying session, albeit all for good reason. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for qualifying. But who will be on pole at a circuit where pole position could be absolutely pivotal? Well, it's time to find out. But as the circuit falls silent for a brief moment, and shortly drivers will start to make their way out the pit lane. Well, I do believe the call has been made for anybody with an even door number, and there is, of course, your driver's champion for this season, your overall champion, and taking his maiden title, Wojciech Swirydowicz, in the Semper Racing machine. No livery on the car, it would seem, to celebrate the championship title. Perhaps we'll see that in the season finale. But congratulations to him for taking the title 2 rounds early, and really has been absolutely unstoppable this season. Can he make it another dominant day today here at the Oran Park Raceway circuit? Well, as he does, and we do say hello to Rano Motorsport in the YouTube chat there, and well, good evening to you, Rano Motorsport. I hope you're doing well, and thank you for the compliment. And for those in the YouTube chat are wondering what's been referred to by saying great coverage at the weekend by you, well, it's the reason why my voice may be a little bit weaker than normal today, ladies and gentlemen, why I may need to take a glass of water every so often, is that I was up at Mallory Park Circuit in the United Kingdom, covering the Classic and Modern Motorsport Festival for 2024, and presenting the TV show and all of the commentary for all the 20 races there over the course of the weekend. An absolutely fantastic weekend, but the only problem, of course, being that in the fact that my voice may have taken a few hits along the way. But an incredible weekend of racing. Definitely recommend checking it out. And well, that's enough self-promotion from myself there. But as our drivers continue to push on, and I push on in my personal career of always real-life motorsport commentary and also sim racing commentary, where it's our drivers on screen who are your stars of today. And when we also do say hello there to Handsome Stu, as he's sitting in the YouTube chat right now here for DQ Dave. Well, I think a little bit of banter going back and forth in the YouTube chat, always great to see. But it's always great to see as well new blood on the grid. And a driver who we've seen on the grid in other series at NXTGEN Racing, but joining the grid for the purposes of what is the NXTCC, the last 2 rounds of the season, and perhaps building up what is a little bit of a test bed in order to go into what we see as 7. Here is Louis Hesketh, one of 2 new drivers of the grid, both for Aztec Racing and the Audi RS3 LMS, and in the 194 there, made his way over the bridge. And well, whether he's related to the legendary Hesketh family or not, I'm not 100% sure, but he does share the same surname as them, and we wish him all the best luck on his debut today. And also to Dylan Mystery in the more familiar Aztec Racing livery there, both of them the prime class was provisionally assigned, and as he makes his way on down through where it's turns 7 and 8, and up as he'll go towards Momo Corner at turn number 9. Well, right now they'll both be getting themselves clocked in as best as possible as started to fill the way in to those lap times. But speaking of those lap times, first lap goes on the board, and it will be Benji McCluskey and Hyundai Veloster who will be setting the opening time at 1 minute 11.481. But do remember in practice, we did see 109s being set, and the target will be a 109 as a minimum here. And well, one of the things that will be catching a number of drivers out, and this is something that I was informed of by a series organizer and also participant going into today, Jamie Dory, is the fact that around here this circuit is absolutely bumpy. And indeed, whilst we won't necessarily be able to get a clear on board, which will show that in the fact that our drivers around here will have to contest with what will be one of the bumpiest circuits, and therefore the amount of feedback going through their steering wheels is absolutely going to chafe at the hands all the way through, and therefore it will be on the minds of this fact that it can be very easy to make a mistake just simply trying to deal with what is the motion of the car over each and every little bump and undulation in the circuit. And that's why this Oran Park Raceway circuit, always considered in real life one of the most difficult tests in the world of Australian road racing motorsport, and we are seeing it here today as we do look to Wojciech Swirydowicz as he makes his way in the tow there, going faster than anybody else so far in the second half lap. He's got the tow there, Benji McCluskey in front of him, and that might explain a little bit the story as he crosses the line. Well, McCluskey in the end does improve, but Swirydowicz jumps up into the 1:10s immediately. McCluskey a further 3 tenths behind, but in the 1:10s as well. And Alex Meredith, currently your pro and provisional pole sitter, on what is a 1:11.305 as he comes on down onto the brakes there into Coca-Cola corner and goes a bit deep. But to be fair, as he makes his way in through a left-hander, right now just looking, I think, to try and get a bit more time out there as Ben Altria goes even faster, as we say hello to All About the Gyro there in the YouTube chat, saying we at Full Tilt Motorsport are on the move. And indeed, as he makes his way on around in towards turn number 3, looking as though he's on the move right now in the Hyundai Elantra, and this really has been the car to beat in the practice sessions. The Elantra being very strong in general around this circuit, and by converse nature, we do believe the Audi may be a little bit harder to extract the lap time out of here, given the fact that the car does seem to really suffer from an innate understeer at this circuit. All of our cars do, to be fair, but the Audi just feels it a little bit more potentially compared to some of its rivals, and therefore that could be in the minds of some of our drivers. But as they continue to make the way on around here, and indeed time continues to trickle away in this extended qualifying session, and indeed with so many drivers in the pit lane at the moment, watching and waiting on, therefore it is going to lead to a little bit more mystery about this qualifying session. The fact we won't really know how the grid's set for a very long time, and those who are out there in the first half of the session, the one advantage they do technically have is that they do get a slight bit longer amount of time out of the circuit in qualifying compared to those who are in the pit lane. And the fact those with the odd numbers have been told they have to wait in the pit lane until all the drivers have come off the circuit. The majority have, and therefore then they'll be released out. So technically they will get about a 13.5-minute qualifying session to what is arguably the 15-minute qualifying session of our even numbers. But of course the flip side of the coin is that they're laying the rubber down right now for what will be at the drivers who are in the pit lane. And on top of that as well, these are the drivers who've got to hope they've done it enough. They won't know what target they've got to beat, because of course half the grid is not there, as we see James Smatsky taking a lot of apex curve at turn number 1, almost losing the rear and catching just in time to Coca-Cola corner, but almost near miss there, and a trip to the gravel. And well, once you go off the circuit here, the car becomes very loose, and indeed it's very hard to regain control as he goes even deeper there into turn 3. I think letting another driver come through, in fact misses his brake zone entirely, pulls off the circuit onto the runoff area there, and it's Craig Tillotson get a little bit closer. And I think Craig right now will be hoping that Smatsky will pull aside shortly as they come in towards what is turns 6 and down towards 7. We'll also say hello there to Andrew Pine in the YouTube chat. And well, how are you doing well today, Andrew? As our drivers continue to push on at Gabriel Yilmaz, yet with a valid time as he runs wide out of Momo corner, in towards the dogleg he goes. And will that run wide, that will validate the lap, and he'll know that he's still got to find more time out there, and also just simply find the lap in the first place. And very tricky to get those laps on the board here as he makes his way out of the final corner. But what's it going to be when he makes his way on through it next time around? As he'll cross the line here, the lap won't register and have some connectivity issues as well. We'll have to wait and see. But meanwhile, we look to your AM pole sitter right now in the form of what is Mark Kent, and well, he's looking at strong and a new livery on the car. You can see it loud and clear there. Different change of colours as well, whereas a more lively shade of blue stroke purple, you could argue, and will also retain the traditional black, white and red on the with the Full Tilt Motorsport car. And that Audi RS3 absolutely looking fired up right now as he heads in towards turn number 2. And the 656 driver, an early candidate of course in at the AM Championship battle, well, until it started to go the way of Mark Sykes and Harley Bicknell. But Bicknell's retired from the season midway through, and then Sykes been allowed to run away uncontested, and some misfortune for what was Kent. Indeed, a number of drivers really started to shape up the situation with regards to that championship. But as he makes his way out of turn number 4, one thing to know about Mark today, and that's Mark Kent, not feeling 100%, not had too much time to practice going into today, so right now really using this qualifying session for dual purposes, to set a lap time but also to practice and get used to the circuit. But indeed, this is going to be his first practice. He's doing very well right now. In fact, he is currently provisional pole, but as always, remember, this is only half the qualifying field, and we still do have plenty of drivers who will need to make the way out there. And speaking of your championship leader in the AM class, another Mark. This is Mark Sykes, crawling his way down the pit lane at the moment, and we're not too pleased with the way the session has gone so far. He's down in P14, and he'll be hoping for a bit more as he does bring the car into its pit stall. And as he does so, we do say hello there to Jono Cook, or Jonathan Cook, and I hope you're doing well, Jono. And well, as all of our drivers continue to put those lap times in, Wojciech Swirydowicz still the man to beat right now by what is 600 over Benji McCluskey. And well, as he makes his way on down the start for this straight, a new fastest lap of the qualifying session of 1 minute 10.151, almost now at the 109s, and as he heads in towards turns 1 and 2. So you may be asking, what's the weather like out there today? Well, as he makes his way on around and building up some speed, we do get the weather, what will be on the right hand side of your screen, and there it is, and it is going to be with 21 degrees centigrade ambient temperature, 25 degrees centigrade track temperature, some partial cloud and sunlight shining through, so therefore a relatively cool circuit compared to some venues we've been to recently, particularly the Hockenheimring last time out. We saw track temperatures push towards 40 degrees centigrade, and also Watkins Glen earlier in the season. We did see those track temperatures absolutely skyrocket upwards of 42, 43, but here today this is going to be quite favourable, particularly for the Hyundai Elantras, who won't feel as penalised on what is those front tyres, with the fact they do struggle as soon as they hit 40 plus. But as we do see Wojciech Swirydowicz making his way on through there, absolutely precise and clinical as he makes his way towards the end of another qualifying lap and going even faster this time. And Swirydowicz right now, I can tell you one thing, he may have secured the championship, but he's not slowing down by any means, heads towards the timeline, and well, he's got his own time to beat of 1 minute 10.1, he goes to a 109.998, the fuel comes out the car, and well, with the tyres absolutely in fine trim, Wojciech Swirydowicz, the first driver to break into the 109s, as meanwhile Ben Altria, currently your fastest prime out there on what is quite a strong 1 minute 10.40 to the nearest 100th, and what Altria right now might be a hard driver to beat, as Alex Meredith in number 44 currently in P5. He won't be complaining about that, looking good, but remember again, these positions will then be subject to the other 15-minute part of the qualifying session as he winds his way on through Champion Curve. As he heads on towards the Yokohama Bridge, you can see the rear brake discs there absolutely glowing red hot for the Sam Casey UK Next Gen driver. And when he comes down in towards what will be the right-hander turn number 6, he'll be hoping now there's a little bit more time out there that he can find as time goes on. He'd like to get close to Altria, albeit only a 10th between the two of them, plus 200s to be a bit more precise, but it's such fine margins in these qualifying sessions. It always has been all season, and well, Altria just finding a bit of magic out there, as meanwhile we look to James Smazersgal, the 660 driver in the Audi RS3 LMS, will right now make his way on down in towards turn number 3, and as he does, he's currently the provisional fastest AM driver out there by almost 2 tenths over what is Mark Kent, and then Matt Emmons a further 4 tenths down, and Mark Sykes by comparison not quite on the pace here in qualifying, but to be fair, he doesn't need to do anything incredible today in order to be able to hold us that championship lead and give himself the best possible advantage going into the season. But he just needs to be consistent. The pressure is on Smazersgal, who's got to try and whittle down that 230 plus point advantage that Sykes has picked up. And should Smazersgal drop the ball at any point, he could end up awarding the championship to his AM rival before this round is over. As he makes his way out of the dog leg and up towards Recaro corner, on he goes, and as he does so, goes a bit deep there, just missed the apex, go for that late apex, but the car creeping away from him, but the understeer, which is so pronounced as he makes his way down towards the timeline. What's it going to be this time? 111.480, not quite as strong as 111.18 in their standard he set previously. I mean, well, we do have some other drivers making the way towards the end of their current laps, and here's Benji McCluskey as he makes his way out of the final corner, and we jump aboard here with McCluskey for a flying lap in the Next Gen Racing Hyundai Veloster as he charges his way down towards turn 1. Sending in towards the opening braking zone here, and as he does so, listening close, and you'll hear there's going to be a lift, a dab, and then hard on the brakes. Lifts off and then brings the brakes on and applies them absolutely viscerally. It's Coca-Cola corner down to first gear, takes a nice tight apex, he makes way out of turn number 2 under the Yokohama Bridge, and now in towards turn number 3, and as he does, braking at the start of the entry curve on the left hand side, down to first gear, turn on through, and now out he goes in towards turn number 4. Very short run here onto the brakes of Champion Curve, albeit a lighter amount of brake compared to turn number 3 as he makes his way out now through the King of 5 and over the crest here in towards turn number 6, and then immediately through the right hander as he comes on through there, manages the speed absolutely perfectly, and now downhill into 7 and through the right hander back into left of 8, and as he comes out up towards Monroe corner, turn number 9, using all that entry curve on the right hand side as much as he dares to do so, given the fact it's off camber on entry as he makes his way up towards the dog leg here, having a bit of a stall coming on through the corner, and he makes way over the rise. McCluskey now keeping it nice and easy here, as in fact he does back off and decides to go for another attack lap. Not happy with that lap at all, and McCluskey going once again. I do wonder potentially whether it was a slight off track coming out of Momo corner, invalidated the lap, because you can see as soon as he made his way out of Momo, he wasn't happy about something as he makes his way onto another one, and we can see to stay on board here as McCluskey gives it another try. 1.5 minutes to go, and this time even more aggressive as he absolutely goes all in on the curbs as he makes way out turn 2 in towards 3. Well, now here's going to try to brake even late as he comes down the gearbox, slamming the car down the gears. Apex speed of 41 miles an hour there at turn number 3, the lowest speed corner on the circuit. He comes in towards 4 and now down to second gear, opting to stay in second rather than first in order to get better traction as he makes way up the hill and in towards turn 6. Unsighted of course, you have to turn in effectively just as you clear the ridgeline. A horrible combination. He runs a little bit wide there out of 6 in towards 7. Does that cost him the lap as he takes a huge bite out of the apex curve at turn number 8? Looks like he's in the clear so far. Through Momo he goes, and as he does so, McCluskey really pushing those track limits to the absolute limit here as he straight lines his way over the curbing of what is turns 10 and 11. In towards the brakes he goes, in towards the final corner as he makes his way through Recaro, mounts that curb, uses it to turn the car around as close as you'd like to the exit wall there from McCluskey. Indeed, it's a fast lap, but already Swirydowicz is going even faster. McCluskey comes to the timeline, wasn't going to be here. He stays as his P3 does not improve, and he practically matches his previous best, albeit just missed out by a couple of hundredths. A lovely run through there, but still McCluskey just not quite able to find the timeline. Trier still staying in P2 there. Do keep in mind as well that McCluskey does have the best part of what is 40 kilograms of success, but as in what is this Hyundai Veloster, and therefore that is going to be holding him back as he makes his way onwards. Well, the clock is about to hit 15 minutes, and with that, our even number drivers out of circuit will be given the call to come off of circuit. They'll be allowed to complete their current laps, and that will be it. And we look to the AM driver here, Craig Tillerson, who right now continuing on rising form. He has really been Mr. Consistent in the AM class, as Mark Sainz goes pole in the AM class there on a 1 minute 11.094. He leaves it all to his final lap out on circuit, and will immediately have to tow to the pits. But let's keep our eyes on Tillerson here, as he's had a poor middle portion of the lap. He makes his way through the final corner. Can he make his way a little bit further up the order, which has got down to a little bit further behind as he heads towards the timeline? Was it going to be him? Tillerson, he crosses that timeline, breaks immediately on, goes P17 there. A lovely lap from Tillerson. And well, meanwhile, Alan McCain is still out there as he heads on through, and he's on his final flying lap as all the odd number drivers. You can already see them there in the top right corner of your screen. We do have Jamie Dory leading them around, going over through turn 6 in towards 7. So very quickly out the pit lane, practically was a last minute run out. And as we do see Alan McCain making his way through Recaro here, the car going a bit deep, not an improving lap so far. Can he find a bit more time? I suspect this might be a visit to the pits, and indeed it is for McCain. But with the qualifying session complete for even at door number drivers, now it's on to the odds, and we've got 14 minutes here. And in the end, that transition between the even and the odds qualifying session happening much quicker than perhaps originally anticipated, which is great to see, as we do say hello to Toby Prosser and also Cup in the YouTube chat to both of them. And we'll Verona Motorsport remarking, oh my goodness, Sykes last minute pole still, and indeed Mark Sykes leaving it all to the final minute in order to get the job done. And well, as they do, all the drivers that get themselves set and absolutely on the attack right now. Well, we've also just been informed that, ladies and gentlemen, that with regards to what is our drivers out there, we're going to be getting a word shortly with what is your champion for this season, the overall drivers championship, and that will be with Wojciech Swirydowicz, who is just down the pit lane getting out the car at the moment. But as our odd number drivers make the way around, you can see the absolute hustle and bustle as everybody close together, and Jamie Dory at the head of all that pack, looking to try and stay clear of it and not get embroiled into what could be an absolutely close-knit pack of drivers. And therefore I think he'll be feeling confident that being the leader, he can get some good laps on the board, get some bankers in, and then consider what may be potentially the opportunity in order to go even further by picking up the tail of another driver. But Dory is going to set will be his first lineup shortly. Of course, he's got a lot of fuel in the car at the moment, and tyres which are definitely not up to temperature. He goes very deep there at the final corner, so therefore Dory not achieving the line he wanted, but he needs a bit more time there. The tyres not quite settled in, so therefore this first lap is not going to be indicative of what he wants to do. It's a P20 so far in a 12.124. But do keep in mind that Dory's still got a long way to go, indeed all the drivers have. And those drivers who can turn the tyres on early, particularly our Hondas, of which the Sim Racing Collective, Andrew Pye, goes their P18 with Kieran Sharp, his teammate, just a little bit further behind. We imagine these Honda drivers are going to creep their way up the order very quickly indeed, with the 12 minutes they've got remaining in the qualifying session. But of course, later on, when the tyres are up to temperature for their rivals as well in the other types of machinery, well, the Hondas may start to be reeled back in. But to be fair, this is a Honda circuit, in the fact it does place a bigger emphasis on corners rather than straights, and therefore that's what the Honda does best. It's brakes and also direction changes, and therefore we could expect our Hondas to go strong. Adam McNally, currently the highest placed Honda in P7, the Pro-Am driver for SRL with NXTGEN Gold, and right now Sim Racing Collective here of Wojciech Pike and Sharp, we hoping they can get themselves into that top 5, if not even further, and perhaps even go for pole. Ladies and gentlemen, as this qualifying session continues to push on, we're going to grab the opportunity whilst we can to have a chat with Wojciech Swirydowicz. He's down in the pit lane at the moment, and we are going to grab a word with him as he sits in the pit lane off of that pole lab. And well, as we do get a patch through to the pit lane, Wojciech, good evening to you. Do you have time for a quick chat?
Sure, yes, go ahead.
Well, Wojciech, got to say firstly, congratulations on taking what is your maiden overall Drivers' Championship title in the NXTCC Season 6. The first driver ever to do it with multiple rounds remaining as well. I mean, you must be absolutely proud of your achievements this season.
Yeah, it went much better than expected throughout the whole season, I must say. Definitely the car choice helped a lot. But yeah, my hope is not only the car, it's also the way I was driving.
Well, that's absolutely fair. I mean, car choice and driver going hand in hand, of course. Both of you and the Audi absolutely delivering it round after round, even with all the success bars in the car as well. And I mean, despite the fact you've taken the title early, you've not put your foot off the throttle at all and setting an absolutely brilliant pole lap of 109.961. Of course, we've still got the best part of 10 minutes in this qualified session, but it looks as though you might be eyeing up a few more wins before the season is over.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm still gonna do my best. The racing is the fun part.
Oh, 100%, like you say, the racing is always the fun part, and we're looking good here today. And I do have to ask as well, how yourself and the Semper Racing team are feeling, given the fact you're well in the hunt, of course, for what is a top 3 in the Teams Championship?
Okay, so we're missing Sławomir today as well, so I'm on my own. I hope maybe Jarosław Cebula would come over and maybe make 2 last runs with us, but no, I'm on my own, so unfortunately.
Indeed, a bit challenging there with a couple of your teammates not quite able to make today, but still plenty to come for yourself, no doubt. But with that, Wojciech, we'll leave you to it for now. But once again, congratulations on that championship crown, and we look forward to seeing whether your lap stands as pole position for today.
Thank you. See you around.
So hearing it there, ladies and gentlemen, from Wojciech Swirydowicz, your overall champion for this season. Absolutely pleased with his performances, no doubt about it. And we're talking about the fact with regards to the car also being a major factor. We have seen, to be fair, the Audi RS3 LMS be very strong this season, perhaps the strongest it has been over the course of an NXTCC championship season. But then again, there's 4 cars available. Our drivers do get the choice of car going into the season. They can swap car, albeit with a penalty applied to them in the season as well. And therefore, knowing which car is right for you, not just the best car out there, but knowing which car fits your approach to driving, and then being able to deliver round after round. And in the case of Wojciech, as well, delivering the success bus, weighing him down every time as well. But that goes to show you just the caliber of driver he is, and a deserving champion at that. And we're absolutely enjoying the race indeed. That's all the fun is, as he says. And in now the focus, of course, turning to get as many points, of course, for Semper Racing, the Teams Championship, being one of a limited number of the team here today, with the absence of Sławomir Jarosław and also Piotr Czegoszewski, and therefore really flying the banner high for the team by his lonesome. But as the drivers make the way on through, 8 minutes still left to go, and well, lap times at the moment, the fastest driver out there is Track Scotland's Kieran Smart in this second half of the qualifying session. Absolutely looking golden there by what is 100th over Alex Meredith. So Smart right now could be going for what is maiden a prime pole position of the season as Daniel Downing leaps his way up into P6. So the drivers right now continue to oscillate there, but Downing coming on strong, and Smart right now absolutely glued to the rear of what is the car. I do believe in front of him Isaac Doble. In fact, that's Mikey Doble, we should say. And as they cross line with Isaac Doble, improves, so does Mikey though, Smart does not, and right now around the wheel tracks, as meanwhile, Track Scotland's other driver, Stuart Winus, goes up to B3 on a 110.383, and well, the Elantras coming on fine form here. We did say the Elantras were looking good in that practice session, and there's the proof in the pudding as he makes his way on around. We do see there in the YouTube chat, Costa Chat's going to saying, why does it remind me of what is Superbike Championship Super Bowl? And well, I must admit, I'm not too familiar with the rules and regulations of the SBK series, but happy for you to elaborate, Costa. Indeed, I'm being treated a little bit more of that reminder, but as I try to make the way on around, the question for Ryder Motorsport being with Kanjov and Collins, that's still the pole position, the AM class in qualifying, and well, Collins right now not quite on the pace it was seeing compared to Delaney, and well, the AM drives, of course, they've got time out there, but we've only got Delaney and Plummer and Collins out there, I believe, so only 3 AMs in the second half of this qualifying session, so it's a pretty empty field by comparison, even though it's a roughly 50-50 split. And well, Tom Delaney wasn't quite on the pace 2 rounds ago when he made his debut at the Mugello circuit, but right now it is to be said that Delaney's starting to pick up the pace, and I did have a brief chat to him in the build-up to today, and he said he was feeling confident, and he feels as though the pace is starting to come through in the SVR NXTGEN Racing at Veloster, and therefore we look to see a bit more for him in the latter half of this qualifying sessions. Right now, he's only at a tenth of a Kent's time, and there's a further tenth to Smasserscout and a further tenth to Wes Sykes, or 3 tenths off at the moment if you do the mathematics, and looking good. As meanwhile, Stuart Winus has taken provisional prime pole position there, 2.5 tenths of Swirydowicz's overall pole time, and this man right now, can anybody hold him down? And the fact that the Track Scotland driver is looking very fast out there, no doubt about it, and we're breaking ahead of Ben Trier's lap by the best part of 400s, and well, I think to the throne with Swirydowicz's pole time at that 109.961, the only 109 we have seen in qualifying. That is going to require an absolutely mammoth amount of effort as the drivers make the way on around. Well, we do see Louis Racing there saying that with regards to the fact he has left Aztec Racing, so therefore I think racing under the privateer banner in fact, so Louis Hesketh, and we will have that updated in the background with regards to what is our team, the team name association for Hesketh, and you might see your overlay refresh itself in the background every so often, ladies and gentlemen. Don't worry, that's not your TV set or your PC, that's on our end as we are updating driver data. But with 5 minutes left in qualifying, Stuart Winus right now absolutely on a mission here to line up on the front row of the grid. Indeed, it'll be his first ever prime pole position if he is able to put it off, and also his first time he's qualified inside the top 10, let alone qualifying on the front row of the grid. But he has got some fierce competition from the Honda Civic Type R of what is Sim Racing Collectives, Andrew Pike and Mikey Doble not too far off as well in the #1 car. And well, speaking of Mikey Doble, the defending champion, of course, that defense not successful. He does have 3 NXTCC titles to his name, and therefore now it's all going to be about the rights of saying, okay, he's got nothing left to fight for in the fact. And Swirydowicz has already taken the crown, so the thing he's got to fight for now is the right to finish P2, but he has got that battle, of course, with what is both Luciano Witvoet and none other than Benji McCluskey to contend with as he makes his way out the final corner. But as he does so, we jump aboard here with Andrew Pike, who takes us around for a flying lap in the Honda Civic Type R. He's made his way down towards turn #1, in towards the opening corner, carrying as much speed as possible. Hard on the brakes they go, and you can see there in the tow of what is a teammate, Kieran Sharp. They're trying to work their way to get one of these Hondas onto the front row, and Pike right now absolutely dancing on that rear axle as they make the way in towards turn #3. And as they come off the right-hander in towards Champion they go, and you'll notice here, by comparison with the lap we brought you earlier, these Hondas are able to brake much later by 5 to 10 metres, if not more, to every corner, and therefore it does mean that these cars are going to be absolutely on the ragged edge of adhesion as he comes on through what is a turn #6 in towards 7 he goes, bringing it down and taking plenty of apex curves. He straddles, where's the curve through 8 and in towards Mummo 9 onto the brakes. So you see constantly fighting with the steering wheel there as the car shaking from left to right. Will be a bit of a poor run out Mummo corner, losing what is the tow to a distance of what is his teammate of Sharp, and in towards Ricari goes there, continues to fight the steering wheel. Indeed, this car very unstable under braking, but indeed that is the art of carrying the speed in the Honda Civic as he makes way to line with Kieran Sharp improved in the middle sector. And well, what's it going to be here for his teammate? It is going to be for Pike. It's an invalidated lap, and Pike is going to have to go again and indeed not the lap he wants as he tries to get it a second time round, but so difficult here to stay within those track limits, and the fact you've got to be right on the edge of them in order to be able to get the best possible time, but go too far and you end up with an invalidated lap and the loss of over what is 1 minute and 10 seconds, and you've got to do it all over again. As meanwhile, Mikey Doble moves a little bit closer now to Pike, still at P6. There is Doble, and well from them. Meanwhile, in the AM class, I tell you that Tom Delaney and Jonathan Collins, both drivers getting a little bit closer to each other, but at the same time not improving any further in terms of overhauling Mark Kent, James Francis-Gow, or Mark Sykes. So it may be that pole position in the AM class is going the way of Sykes here, but let's not say it so until it is all over and said and done with. But as our drivers continue to go on the attack, will mean while we do look to what is none other than Roy Plummer. And the last of our AMs out of the circuit currently, albeit he's qualified ahead of Costa Continental so far by the best part of what is 2 attempts there. And the next-gen driver here, of course, having a great debut season in the NXTCC, having celebrated his birthday as well midway through the season. Well, it's great to see him out there in at the number 9 and looking to continue to push on here as much as he possibly can all the way to the end of the session. Try and get a little bit close to Yilmaz. He's only a 10th off at the moment, and we'll be hoping that he can find just a bit more. Sam Smith, meanwhile, off camera, leaps up to P6 and a 1 minute 10.316. More times to come on in here, ladies and gentlemen. As we do, we talk about Mitchell West as well, on home soil effectively, and as he heads to the line, currently P37, what is P20 in our Pro-Ams, makes his way to a line, feels like he's on a good lap, but in the end does not improve. It's a 1 minute 12.058, and will practically missing out on his previous best by 3 tenths, but find a lot of time in what's the first and latter sectors of the circuit, but the middle sector is where the time is escaping him. But as West makes his way onwards towards what is at turn number 3, with only a minute left to go here in qualifying, time has trickled away and gone very quickly indeed. It feels like we only just started the qualifying session 29 minutes ago, well really 29 seconds ago I should say, given how it's felt. But meanwhile there, a swap of positions on the circuit for Winus and what is at Mikey Doble. They've got half a minute to go, so they'll get one more lap in here, and I suspect Doble wants to car in front of him, the tow. Indeed, you can see the Doble Sim Racing group all together as they make the way to the line. That's Isaac Doble ahead of Mikey there as they make the way on down, and here go the Doble brothers. They make the way down towards turn number 1, but what can Isaac and what can Mikey do here, given the fact they are currently respectively what is on this expected grid, P22 and P8, and therefore for Isaac at least not where he wants to be at all. Mikey, meanwhile, making a consistent run. If he can't qualify inside the top 10, he normally does qualify just outside of it, normally on the 6th row of the grid, and once they come out of what is a turn number 3 in towards 4. Well, Mikey right now very close to the rear of his brother, and you can imagine by being that close as we ride on board to give you the idea of the distances between them. As checkered flag comes out, this qualifying session and its end now, ladies and gentlemen. They are on their final laps. We're staying very close then as he makes way through right into left. Right now for Mikey Doble, not going to be able to make the move happen in towards what we Momo in terms of building an even closer run to his teammate and brother as he comes over the crossroads there, avoids the 2 curves and in towards turn number 12 he goes. Now as it track limits, we'll have to wait and see as he gets to the absolutely lovely run through Recaro to the line, with it beginning a good end to the lap here for Doble in the latter couple of corners. As he crosses the line, Kieran Smart goes P10. Meanwhile, Mikey Doble across the line does not improve. Stuart Wine is still P2. Andrew Byatt. Sam Smith launches his way up towards prime pole there for iRacing Esports and prevents Track Scotland from Stu Winus from taking his maiden prime pole position, his maiden front row start, and it will be Sam Smith who is going to take that P2 just by what is a 10th and a half. We're not even, in fact, a 10th, a 100th and a half there over Winus. And well, with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is qualifying complete, I believe, minus Nick Flibbins, the last driver out there at the moment in the Honda Civic Type R for iRacing Esports. But it is Wojciech Swirydowicz who has taken overall pole position, and he'll be joined on the front row by your prime pole sister Sam Smith. And in the fight for AM pole position, Mark Sykes has taken at P30. Clibbins makes his way down into pit row, and we'll wear that is qualifying at a close. Also special mentions to Andrew Pike, who starts P4, the second of our pros there, with Stuart One is just in front, and the Honda driver absolutely delivering. And Kieran Sharp and Adam Delman, the 2 other Hondas, on row number 4. With that, ladies and gentlemen, the grid is set, and our drivers are making their way onto the grid for the first race of the day, and this is how they'll line up. It will be as follows. Wojciech Swirydowicz takes what is pole pole position there ahead of Sam Smith. The Semper Racing and iRacing Esports drivers will be started side by side on that front row. The prime pole sitter being followed up by Stuart Winnes for Track Scotland and Andrew Pike for the Sim Racing Collective. Ben Altrier starts P5 ahead of Daniel Downing for Goldwyn Motorsport. Then we have Kieran Sharp for the Sim Racing Collective at P7 ahead of Adam Delmont, with the SRO NXTGEN Gold Drive being followed up by Mikey Doble for Doble Sim Racing and Kieran Smart for Track Scotland completion top 10. Benji McCluskey and Alex Meredith line up together on row at number 6. They'll be followed up on row number 7 by Joseph Doble and Patrick Falconer, with Jamie Dory and Ian Manners on row number 8. P17 to Adam McNally, with Russell Fowler alongside a difficult qualifying session for McNally, and will Reece Watt and Luciano Witvoet complete your top 20, and the World of Racing driver being anonymous in a way in this qualifying session, and the Dutchman not having the laps he wanted. Lee Horn, much like McNally, having a difficult qualifying session, and the next-gen driver only managing P21 in the end ahead of Isaac Doble for Doble Sim Racing. That's Alan McCain and Sam Knowles behind them on row number 12. Row 13 will go to Duncan Moraes, the South African driver being followed up by Nick Clibbins, with Matthew Addy and Toby Prosser on row number 14, and your top 30 being completed by the home hero Mitchell West for Mitchell West Performance and your AM pole sitter of Mark Sykes for NXTGEN. James Fezescal starts P31 for Aztec Racing ahead of Tom Delaney. And the next gen driver being followed up by Jake Pitt, the Aztec Racing driver from Wales, out-qualifying Mark Kemp for Full Tilt V Motorsport. And then we will see Luke Jones and Jonathan Collins on row number 18, followed up by no other drivers there. In fact, they will be followed up, I should say, as our grid finally makes its way through by Matt Emmons and Craig Tillerson. Gabriel Yamez and Roy Plummer complete top 40 ahead of Costa Chats Constantia and Louis Hesketh. There'll be Dylan Mystery and Gavin Gardner on what is row number 22, and Matthew Sheraton and Kevin Smith on the final row of the grid. We've had to give you a quick run through of the starting order, ladies and gentlemen, as we do not have the ability to hold the grid in place to walk you through how they're all going to line up and go into a bit more detail. But it's Swirydowicz on pole. The order is lined up. The lights are getting ready to go on. And without further ado, it is going to be 1 red light, 2 red lights, 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 4 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go for our first race of the day here as the drivers get underway and roar their way down towards turn number 1. But as they do, Swirydowicz having a good start to this race. He heads in towards the opening braking zone, and here they go. It is going to be the medley and the madness as they head in towards that opening braking zone. But Swirydowicz breaking away. Meanwhile, Sam Smith here a little bit further behind. Intensive moves from many a driver. And you see the Concertina effect there. There's JW Motorsport car getting close to the back of Alex Meredith. That, I believe, was Patrick Falconer as they all safely tiptoe their way through. A couple of drivers just inching wide, including what's the goal with Motorsport car Duncan Rise. But otherwise, everybody surviving the opening 2 corners. There was a big concern there, but very well done by everyone to make their way on through. But meanwhile, as our leaders make their way on towards the Yokohama Bridge for the first of many a time of asking, and we see our pit lane starters there making their way under the bridge. That being, of course, what is the combination of none other than Smith, Hesketh and Gardner. Well, not Gardner, in fact, we could say what is the combination of Cheverton, Smith and Hesketh. Was the drivers make their way on through it. Wojciech Swirydowicz heading on through what is turn number 9 there for him on my corner and continue to pull away. But from him at Sam Smith right now, absolutely trying to put the cork in the bottle here and prevent drivers from getting on through. And Smith under huge pressure from Andrew Pike, who's had a brilliant start up to P3 already ahead of Stuart Winnes as they make their way out the final corners, got onto the next lap with still plenty more laps to come as they roar their way down towards turn number 1. Starts 1 lap of race, and it's Swirydowicz ahead of Pram leader Smith, followed by Pike, then it's Winnes ahead of Altrier, then Downing, then Delmont, followed by Sharp, then Mikey Doble ahead of Kieran Smart. That's your top 10. Jamie Dory P11 here as everyone now been a bit more aggressive this time under braking into the opening 2 corners. You can see where they're pushing the track limits now, trying to see where the grip is and whether they can go full attack. Meanwhile, in the AM class, it is James Mazesgow who leads at P27 ahead of Mark Sykes. We will get a replay as to how that move was made in due course, with Mazesgow having a great start, gaining multiple places, and Sykes getting 1 place but not enough. Meanwhile, Matt Emmons has had a flying start for the Verano Motorsport driver, already up to P32, 5 places gained overall and 3 in the AM class. You couldn't ask for better from the number 72 driver. As they make the way on, around and onwards they go. I'm hearing that Ian Manners had a little bit of an off, and Alan Luke there, who will say hello to in the YouTube chat, giving us that feed as we see the JW Motorsport driver right now down in P40, still chasing after Dylan Mystery. Side by side he goes, move up the inside there and making quick work of his fellow Prime driver, the debutant in this round of racing. But as they head in towards Momo Corner, meanwhile, we'll look up to Russell Fowler. As you can see, he's under pressure into Recaro Corner from Nick Clibbins. Contact, and it's going to send him wide, and Clibbins parks the car up. They're trying to to get off the racing line with all the field together, and in the end pulling the front bumper off of Fowler as they went. And will Fowler right now in the very heavily wounded car trying to get back to the racing, but won't be able to do so until all the field comes on through, and that is the pain, of course, of having to be civilised. But meanwhile, Mark Sykes makes his way around the outside of Smags's Gow and it's a move the lead, but is there contact there? Sykes loses the rear. We're not sure if it was biffed on the rear end, alternatively whether that was his own volition, but it's gone very, very wrong for Mark Sykes, and Smags's Gow has taken what is the lead of the AM class back from what is your championship lead as the next gen driver just gradually cruises way across the grass and onto what will be under the Yokohama Bridge. Will we get a quick replay of what exactly happened? To make its way on down in towards the breaks over turn 1, and it was some contact there between the two, and Smags's Gow almost losing the car to the gravel, and I suspect that in the closing concertina effect, Smags's Gow just not able to react in time, and Sykes in the end being sent to the grass. We look at that from what was Smags's Gow's perspective here as he made his way on through, albeit the camera not being too obliging there from the third person perspective, and I don't think any malice was meant from the 660 driver, but given the speeds they were running at and how tight it gets to turn number 1, well, the Britain carrying on now, I suspect he'd like to give the place back, but given the way it's gone for Sykes, it'd be safer for him to carry on the race and take the penalty afterwards. But as they made the way through, you saw also there in the rear of the picture what was one of the Golden Motorsport cars losing the rear end, the Honda Civic of what's Duncan Rides going sideways through turn number 3, and Sykes right now knowing he's got all the hard work to do once again to pick his way on through the Anfield. But as they do, well, meanwhile, we do look back to what is the battle here for P2 between Andrew Pine for the Sim Racing Collective and Sam Smith for iRacing Esports, the Prime driver right now fending off the Charging Pro, and Mr. Fish, as he's nicknamed to many, well, right now as they cover through turn number 6 into 7, looking to cast his way on past what is Smith, but will he be able to do so here as they head in towards Momo Corner? There's still plenty of laps to return, in fact 15 laps in these races, not 16. Our program has been updated, ladies and gentlemen, and as they make their way in towards what is the dog leg, quite very close here, but of course dealing with some success pass in that car and still not able to find his way through. He absolutely rides the rear bumper of Woody Smith, making the way on towards another lap. But as they come on down the start finish straight, and we say hello to Mr. JSA there in the YouTube chat, heading on down towards that braking zone, will mean while we look a little bit further back to Luciano Witvoet, and right now the P3 Oval Championship driver chasing after some more places after Patrick Falconer, but the World of Racing driver just not in a happy place, it would seem, with regards to the way the car's feeling. But meanwhile, we've got some drama here as that is Stuart Wyness looking the wrong direction. Andrew Pike, well, he's lost multiple places. I think there's a bit more to this story than meets the eye, as Pike right now is going very defensive here versus Daniel Downing to hold on to what is a P4, and side by side, they're Delman up the inside of Daniel Downing. Downing looking for the move past the Sim Racing Collector driver in there, losing the place, and one other back in returns the Golden Motorsport driver going on the attack here and seeing this as a golden opportunity to get himself right in the hunt for that Prime Championship crown, given the fact that right now both Adam McNally and Lee Horn are a long way down the order. Adam McNally's P6 in the class, Downing meanwhile is P3, and Horn meanwhile is all the way down in P9, and indeed this could completely flip the standings if all 3 races play in this simple fashion, and Downing could right now be on course potentially for really setting himself up for a good run in towards the season finale at Daytona. But the question that will be on many of the drivers' lips here, and indeed many spectators' lips, is what exactly happened to Sharp versus what was Wyness, and here is the replay. So this was firstly coming in towards what was turn number, in fact this was Sharp only moments ago, running a little bit wide there, coming on through turn number 9, and well, I think we need a bit more of the story than that, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to be getting a further replay to explain what happened, and here it is, I do believe. Stuart Wyness losing the rear of the car in the end coming loose, and there's been contact there to the 57 of Andrew Pike, and that explains what happened to Wyness, who then on the gravel had to try and get the car out of the gravel by gradually turning it on around, but then waiting for the field to make the way through, and a frustrating moment for the Track Scotland driver just losing that rear end, and in the end making contact with Pike. I think Pike will know there was no plan in order to make that contact, but indeed it was one of those situations where Pike happened to be in the wrong place at the right time. But meanwhile, back to your live pictures, and side-by-side battling there between Witvoet and Falconer, and well, Falconer flashes lights, not too happy with Witvoet's pass into Momo Corner, and well, both drivers there exchange your places, exchange off flash lights as well, and I do think that's Morse code, and there might be a few swear words under the helmets there between the 2 drivers. I think right now setting the differences and going racing again, but Falconer back into P15, and well, both of them right now I think wanted to settle their differences on the circuit as they make their way down the start finish straight. We're almost at the halfway point in this first race today, further behind behind. Lee Horn looking to make up more places versus Samanos and Matthew Addy as we ride on board here with the Honda Civic Type R driver NXTGEN, and well, second place Prime Championship driver right now. But nine, this will not do if he wants to hunt down Manali. He's going to need a bit more than this as the Honda driver makes his way in towards turn number 3, and Vanols goes a bit deep there under braking, and that will give Horn a little bit more confidence to think that he can apply some more pressure with Toby Prosser just behind the Aztec Racing driver on the back of this as well. But you can't see him, but assure you that he's there 4 tenths behind this battle as they make the way over the Okoma Bridge, and Horn right now just staying in at the hunt and looking for an opportunity. It has been a bit of an instant further down Mitchell West off circuit, also Jamie Dory, oh my good lord, and that is a front bumper missing for boys Jamie Dory, and meanwhile I believe that's the car of Kevin Smith that's rolling backwards off the circuit there. I'm not exactly sure what's happened, but it's been drama for many a driver, and well, as we do try to pick up the pieces, here's a replay to explain. Now Smith being a lap down in the number 94, went to Momo corner, goes wide there, and therefore the rear of the car comes loose, tries to catch it, but as he does, tries to get it turned. Dory goes a bit deep, and in the end Smith, as he gets moved forward there, contact from Adam McNally to the rear of the car, and the Verona Motorsport driver just happened to be in the wrong place. I think he wanted to hold the car, but also realising on the outside line if somebody goes deep, and Dory doing exactly that, then it could have ended up in tears. Meanwhile, Mitchell West having a separate off track, and this was in his battle with the Golden Motorsport car of Duncan Moraes. They made the way through, and West in the end going around. I think there was some netco contact there, which would have kicked the Mitch West performance driver on around, given the relative latency compared to what the drivers around him, and the 101 driver having a frustrating moment, Craig Tillotson, and getting up the inside there, but immediately going for the cutback. Did West get the cutback at Tillotson? I think he did, as they came down to turn them. So no, he didn't, in fact, and having to back out, but good try there from the 101 driver. As we return to your live racing pitch, meanwhile West looking around the outside of Tillotson, a little bit of contact between them, but survives it, and Mitch West performance drive gets ahead of the Fusion Racing driver, who is also going to have now going around the outside of what will be none other than Russell Fowler, albeit that's a change for overall position, not class position. Roy Plummer is going to be the concern for Tillotson, and Plummer is moving closer. 1.2 seconds is the gap between them. But meanwhile, as the battling plays out outside the top 30, we just inch inside the top 30, and Mitchell West here now looking to make the move on the inside versus, well, in fact, trying to fend off Russell Fowler, we should say, with Fowler the attacker here and West the defender. And it's going to be Fowler on the inside into the final corner, goes a little bit deep, contact between the two of them, a bit of door-to-door action, and it's Fowler who does get ahead, and West right now being slightly moved aside there, albeit I think he will accept that it is racing as they make the way onwards towards turn at number 1. Well, we are almost 2/3 of the way through at this race, but still plenty more laps to unfold. Indeed, brilliant racing action so far here at the Oran Park Raceway circuit. And despite the fears about it being a very tricky circuit to battle at, indeed the risk of a major instance, we are seeing what is a number of drivers absolutely enjoying the challenges. Meanwhile, Wojciech Swirydowicz back with your leader. The 7th racing driver still holding off Sam Smith by 6 tenths, but Smith right now, I don't know what he's had for breakfast today or dinner, but what I can tell you is the iRacing Esports driver is absolutely roaring. As meanwhile, Andrew Pike made his way on down here, currently second of our pro drivers, P4 overall, not really able to catch up to Altria, and well, he makes his way on down under pressure from Delmont now, as they head for turns 1 and 2 once again. It's the battle of the Hondas, and more those Hyundai Elantras really have started to build up the pace in what is the second half of this race, as the Hondas have seemed to be very on strong form in the first half, but now the Elantras are starting to find their rhythm. As they make the way out of what is turn number 3 in towards 4, we ride on board looking back for the lead Honda in this battle, and Bike right now still trying to keep the power of dreams firmly in his hands. He makes his way over the rise and through 6. You can see Daniel Downing, also Mikey Doble, Kieran Smart and Kieran Sharp all queuing onto the back of this battle, and therefore all eager to try and make a move. But Delmont right now, Delmont and Pike go back a long way, and at the same time, whilst they will be looking to battle hard, they'll also be respectful. They'll know what each other can do, both in equal machinery, albeit a little bit more weight to the car in Delmont compared to Pike. My memory serves me correctly, in towards the final corner they go. And as they do, Delmont looking for the cutback there, gets very close as they make the way onward towards what will be turn number 1. And well, Delmont getting a slight nose in here as it's a drag race down towards turn number 1, and they come on through in towards the braking zone shortly. It's going to be Delmont on the inside. Pike surely got to back out for this unless they both give way. Well, they both give each other the racing room, but Delmont in the end is going to get up the inside. A lovely move crafted there from Adam Delmont, but to be fair, Andrew might be obliging, but at the same time showing enough racing respect and room, and that is what the battle is all about here between the two drivers. And now Daniel Downing will be looking at this thinking, okay, well, I've just seen Delmont do it, can I do it as well? But the thing is that Elantra, a very different car, and what it lacks in the corners, it will make up for in the straights, but the problem is here we don't have that many straights, and the start-finish line straight really the only place that Elantra is going to be able to gain the overspeed should find now his corners. But as they make their way onwards towards the next right-hander, well, meanwhile we have the car off there in the rear of the picture. I believe that was a further off for Kevin Smith that we did briefly see out of shot, and as our drivers make their way onwards, well, meanwhile in a turn and a twist of what is the AM class, and well, we can't quite figure out how the story's got to this point, but what we can tell you is that Verano Motorsport driver Matt Evans right now in the 72 is your leader in the AM class in P24, and he's got 4 places between himself and Jonathan Collins, who is your second place driver, with James Mazzerscout a little bit further behind. And here they are for context, and I think there has been a further instance since the contact between Smazzerscout and what was Sykes, and I think that sent Smazzerscout a long way down the order. He's trying to recover his way up. Meanwhile, Collins has just made his way through, and again, Emmons and Collins showing that sometimes you just need to steer clear of the drama, and well, as a result, the drama won't find you, but instead the places will come to you naturally. But Collins now will need to know he's got to go defensive for a little bit here all the way to the end, because Smazzerscout is looking fast in that Audi, but Teddy on the straights and also out of the medium speed corners. They make the way on down towards turn of 1, but the one thing that Collins does have in his favour is the fact that he has a little bit less weight in the car. As the flash of lights there, I think he knows that he's on camera and therefore saying hello, but his focus should be right now on holding on to P2 and not letting Smazzerscout come on through. But from there, meanwhile, Manners up the inside there of Emmons, and well, Manners having started all the way up in what was P16, looking to gain even more places back on this recovery drive after falling all the way down the order. We have had an off for Sykes off camera further down the order, a major incident for Sykes, which really is torpedoing what was a good start to the day, and therefore Sykes right now not having any luck in this first race of the day as the drivers continue to charge on. But as they do, will mean, well, we do look to what is Wojciech Swirydowicz, the Semper Racing driver here, still leading, albeit stiff, right behind as we look to your leaders with 3 laps remaining, including the one they're on currently, and then Medal Trier is 3 seconds behind him. He's broken away from the rest of the pack and looking to bring home what will be a great and maiden overall podium in P3, and a solid P2 class. It's been some time since we've seen him on where's the prime podium, and he taking a P2 would absolutely make him feel electrified. With Joe Zadol batting his way past Benji McCluskey there into turns 3 and 4, and as they come out to the right-hander on to the bridge they go. We see Kieran Sharp right now still holding on here just about as the Velocity drives getting the long queue, and the Double Sim Racing 11 of Joseph Doble here really starting to come strong in the late stage of this race. And I think the pace now starting to come to him because he does have a little success balance in this car, and therefore that will be something he's having to manage with McCluskey by comparison, of course, with what is at 42 kilograms and an absolutely painful amount of success balance in that Veloster, and therefore McCluskey right now to battle against the elements for Alex Meredith, also tucking in behind as they make their way on to the penultimate lap. But as they do, coming on through the left-hander and on they will go. Once again, well, nobody really able to find a move this time at the head of the spear. It's Adam Delmont in P4 for SO NXTGEN Gold, who's keeping Andrew Pipe behind for now as they all head onto the anchors. So you can see they're Downing just not able to brake as hard or as late as was the Honda Civics in order to be able to look for that potential move to turns 1 and 2. And the Honda's really having an advantage, and they can get ahead here at the Oran Park Raceway circuit. They are able to stay ahead quite comfortably, and they just have the ability to be bolder on the brakes compared to their peers as they make their way on out of the corner. Meanwhile, we look back towards the battle for P24. This is back for Sheraton, the Aztec Racing on the inside of Evans, and your AM leader back it out on the outside there. 90 doesn't need to fight in order to be able to bring on home the result. As meanwhile, off camera, Smazzerscout has found his way ahead of Collins for P2 in the AM class and P27 overall. But from then, we look back to Isaac Noble here, who has got a very, very eager Sam Van Olst all on the back of him as they make their way on through turns 7 and 8. And Van Olst right now looking for at least one more place to try and get away from Addy and Horn before going into race number 2. And there you can see that right now Doe will absolutely be pushed every step of the way as we ride on board here but number 65 drives, he makes his way in towards turn number 12, and with Knowles getting close, but can he get the launch he needs out to the corner? He stays very nice and tight there on the exit to the rear of Doble's bumper, and as they make their way on towards where's the final lap, the white flag has been waving already as our leaders are already into turns 3 and 4. Why is it Doble here? Although he's got enough of an advantage, I don't think he's going to worry this time about what we said. Knowles looking for the move, but Knowles staying absolutely on the 6 of Isaac Knowles. They make the way out, and with Matthew Addy and Lee Horn there, where one queuing up as Addy looking for the move out under braking. Can he find it? No, he can't. And back out, but a bit of contact to the rear of Isaac Knowles' car from the Knowles. But Knowles still here being pushed through the corner, and well, I think Knowles saying to him right now, yes, I know you defend him, but get a move on, please. As meanwhile, Toby Prosser up the inside there of where's Matthew Addy in towards turn number 4. Side by side they go, and Prosser is going to get ahead of Addy over the bridge in towards turn number 6. But meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, we come back to your leader, for as he makes his way out to the final corner, he took pole position, the only driver to settle 109, and as he makes his way towards the checker flag, it's a continuation of victories this season for Wojciech Swirydowicz for Semper Racing ahead of Sam Smith, who is your prime winner, taking his first Pro-Am win for some time ahead of Ben Ultre, who comes home run up in the Prime Class, P3 overall. Adam Delbert will take P4, just ahead of Andrew Pike, with Daniel down in P6, completed the Prime podium. Mikey Dole P7 ahead of Kieran Smart P8, Joseph Dole and Benji McCluskey completed your top 10. And we've still got more drives to make the way through, ladies and gentlemen, including this man. And well, he picked up 1 win earlier in the season in the AM class, and now he's going to add a second one to his basket as he flashes the lights. He knows it's his time to shine, and Matt Emmons is your AM winner for race number 1 here at Oran Park Raceway, head over Luke Jones, and then James Pascal takes the run-up AM class position at P27, and it will be Jonathan Collins who picks up another AM podium, another 3rd place in the AM podium, and the Whiskey Runner Racing driver will be absolutely pleased as punch with that. Craig Tillotson may not get an AM podium, but he takes P4 in the AM class there, P34, just ahead of Roy Plummer, who matches his season best performance of a P5 in the AM class by taking what is his best overall finishing position of a P35 for next gen. And then we do have what is Mark Seitz, Gabriel Yilmaz, and I do believe Mark Kent, who is on a lap down. He has finished the race in a wounded full tilt motorsport car. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, those are all your finishers, and well, as our leaders make the way into the pits already, Wojciech Swirydowicz will know it has been a perfect start to the day here at what is the Oran Park Raceway, and he'll be looking to make it 2 wins out of 2 in due course. But meanwhile, Sam Smith just behind him. We couldn't have asked for a better run here at the Oran Park Raceway circuit, but now he'll know, of course, that he'll have P2 success bars overall, and it'll be the first time he's ever run with what will be the best part of the 40 plus kilograms of success bars. And Ben Ultre as well will be taking that sub 40 kilograms, but still they'll both be feeling the pain, no doubt about it. And Matt Emmons, as he makes his way into the pit lane, meanwhile, well, it's going to be a jubilant smile there on the sensitive driver's face. And I can tell you one thing, the Runner Motorsport Garage will be absolutely jumping up and down the joy, as whilst it didn't work out for Kevin Smith and into P45 with the premature retirement, it will be Emmons who's absolutely on fire here in Australia. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we take a look to the scenic view, and with it the race results, and here they are, subject to any stewards' inquiries. And as we can see, Wojciech Swirydowicz taking the win for Semper Racing by 1.6 seconds over iRacing Esports is Sam Smith, your overall winner and your pro winner, ahead of the Pro-Am winner, and Smith taking his first ever overall podium as well, ahead of fellow Englishman Ben Ultre, also his first ever overall podium, and also 2nd place in the Prime class of full tilt motorsport. Adam Delmont P4 in his brilliant battle back and forth with the sim racing collectors Andrew Pipe, but the SRL NXTGEN Gold driver finding that position right at the end, then that brilliant move into turns 1 and 2, then Daniel Downey in P6 there for Goldwyn Motorsport, completing the prime podium of Smith, Ultre and Downey, with Mikey Dole P7 for Double Sim Racing, and what a good start to his day there as well, and started towards the bottom end of the top 10, and make it was the best part of 2 places. And then Kieran Smart for Track Scotland, it may not have worked out exactly the way he wanted it, but he still made 2 places up overall, and the 2 key places made. Joseph Dole for Double Sim Racing and Benjamin McCluskey for Next Gen Pink completed your top 10, with Alex Meredith there, P11 for Next Gen, the prime driver, a P5 in class, and there's still more to score out there, but good start to his opening account for the day. And then Adam McNally, P13 for SRL Next Gen Gold, ahead of Patrick Falconer and Luciano Witvoet. And the World of Racing driver from the Netherlands, struggling in qualifying, but gradually making some places, but I think still trying to find the pace here at the circuit. Isaac Dole P16 ahead of Sam Van Olsen, their brilliant back and forth battle with Toby Prosser P18 and just squeezing ahead of what was Matthew Addy at the close, as did Lee Horn, who squeezed ahead of his next gen teammate And then from P20 of Addy, it was Reese Watt P21 header Jake Pitch with Duncan Rise, Matthew Cheverton, and then Matt Emmons P25 there, your AM winner for Rhino Motorsport, head of Luke Jones, James Pascal, your runner-up in the AM class, P27 Aztec Racing, and then it was Ian at manager JW Motorsport who separated the AM drivers out, as did Russell Fowler, before we come to your third place AM finisher Jonathan Collins P30 there to complete that AM podium of Emmons, Smasasgal, and Collins. From this runner racing driver, it was Mitchell West P31 in a great start to his day in qualifying and making some key places as well. The Australian driver getting his elbows out there when it did go wrong in the early stages. Jamie Dory P32 afterwards that difficult incident coming on through Momo Corner midway through the race, and then Stuart won his P33 and a difficult end to his race after what was a great run inside the top 10 for so long. Head of Craig Tillotson, Roy Plummer, Mark Sykes, and Gabriel Yilmaz, who was your last lead lap finish of that Aztec Racing P37. And then finishing the lap down, Mark Kemp P38 ahead of Nick Clemens, with Alan McCain retiring with 5 laps to go there for iRacing Esports, but classified as a finisher as he completed over half the race distance, as did both Tom Delaney, Costa Chatscontinentu, and Kevin Smith, and Louis Hesketh, and then Gavin Gardner. Not on the grid today, ladies and gentlemen, but listed there as he is filling in the race director's position. Well, he's listed as P46, but indeed he was not on the grid for this race. He was a non-starter. But with that concludes our first race of the day, and we still got 2 more races to come, and we'll be back for the build-up to what will be our second race of the day in approximately around 7 to 8 minutes. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back for race number 2 and all the spoils that come with it very shortly. But before then, a quick word from our title sponsor for this season, of course, and that is IMB Racewear. We'll see you very shortly. And without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we are back for the second race of this evening in round 9 of the NXTCC Season 6, brought to you on iRacing and sponsored by IMB Racewear. And well, what a story it has been so far, with qualifying and race number 1 being dominated by this man, your champion for this season already overall, and looking to continue that momentum forward indeed, out there to pick up every single win he can, none other than the Polishman of Wojciech Swirydowicz for Semper Racing. And well, as he makes his way on around here in this practice session with 3.5 minutes to go, he may have been leading at the very front of the field, but also Sam Smith was out there leading the way in the Pram class, albeit he's yet to get in the car in the pit lane, and then Ben Ultrier right on his heels all the way through. The full tilt motorsport driver in the end, bringing home a great result there in that 3rd place overall. But of course, for both Sam Smith and Ben Ultrier, they'll now have to contend with the fact they'll both be running what will be top 3 overall success bars, not the traditional success bars they would see for P1, P2 in the Pram class, because of course those overall values are greater than the Pram values, and that is the rule, of course, that if you do end up taking an overall position where you get more success bars than your class success bars, you have to run the heavier weight in order not to cheat the system, and therefore they'll have to now manage that situation all the way through, as Ultrier going straight on into the tyre barrier, and will thankfully he resets the pit lane, but I imagine he won't want to be doing that again in a hurry, for the simple reason he'll now get a feel for how much that weight is going to upset the balance of the car, and well, that could definitely look to upset his rhythm going into this race, but that's what the success balance is there to do. It's there to make things just a little bit more difficult. As we build up to this second race, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to try and get a word with one of our other drivers on the grid, and we're going to be trying to get a word from none other than what will be Matt Emmons, as we try to get a patch through to his car very shortly, as he makes his way out of Mama Corner there and into the dog leg. And of course, your winner in race number 1 in the AM class, it's always good to get a quick word with one of our class winners. As he makes his way out of the final corner, let's see if we get the patch through. As we try to get the patch through to Matt's car now. Matt, can you hear me? Have you got time for a quick word?
I have, Paul. How are you?
Well, I'm doing very well, Matt, although my voice maybe tried to leave me at the moment, but more importantly, it looks as though you tried to leave the Anfield behind with that win in race number 1. I mean, congratulations. How was it out there for you?
Considering I've not had a chance to have much practice and do first laps of turn 1 qualifying, I was quite shocked to see myself win that first race, if I'm honest. It was kind of a rough and ready race with a lot of cars spinning out and getting damaged, but like you said in the stream, I managed to pick my battles and come through it all.
Indeed, a game of survival there that was Oran Park Raceway circuit, just keep it cool, calm and collected. Can we expect more of that in race number 2, albeit the fact you do of course now have the best part of those 24 kilograms of success ballast to navigate?
Certainly hope so, but I must admit, having driven with the weight, I think it was last week, I don't think the weight's going to be that much of a big thing in the Honda here. It doesn't seem to drive that much different, if I'm honest.
Well, that's absolutely fair. Appreciate the inside analysis there, Matt. Well, with that and only a minute to go, we'll leave you to it. Good luck in race number 2, and we'll see you at the checkered flag.
Thank you very much.
So here in there from none other than your AM winning race number 1, Verano Motorsports, Matt Emmons, and his thoughts there. Interested to hear him say that he doesn't think the success bars is going to make too much of a difference to the Honda at this Oran Park circuit, and perhaps right now feeling as though in fact it may be aiding him a little bit, or just has no natural difference. And well, we have had a number of drivers say that, including what is our Audi RS3 drivers, even our Open champions say that in some cases the weight actually helps to stabilise the car and make it a little bit more predictable. Although it does lose out the straights, but certain circuits, that predictability and that stability can be just as valuable as a couple of miles an hour speed. Well, with that, ladies and gents, we do see that Russell Fowler trying to get a bit of practice with the number 32 of what is Reese White and battling side by side through turns 3 and 4. I can imagine they want to do that in the race. Well, the clock does strike 10 minutes, and you know what time it is? It is time for us to head to the grid for our second race of the day. So as drivers make their way onto the grid once again, this is how they'll line up for race number 2. As they finished in race 1, it is going to be Wojciech Swirydowicz who takes pole position for Semper Racing ahead of Sam Smith for iRacing Esports. Behind the prime pole sitter is fellow prime driver of Ben Ultrier, and keep your eyes out there for Ultrier and the fact that he'll be keen to try and bring on home what will be the pro and win this time around. But for the full tilt motorsport driver, it's Adam Delmont P4 for SO and NXTGEN Gold, head of Andrew Pint for the Sim Racing Collective, and then Daniel Downing P6 there for Goldwyn Motorsport, knowing that he's got his 2 targets in front of him and he'll want to take that prime win. Mikey Doble starts P7 for Doble at Sim Racing ahead of Kieran Smart for Track Scotland as they look to try and make even further progress up the field after race number 1. And it's Joseph Doble for Doble Sim Racing and Benji McCluskey for NXTGEN Peak who complete your top 10. Alex Meredith starts P11, the NXTGEN driver, hoping he can make a bit more inroads into the top 10 this time around. And they have the company of Adam McNally for SL in NXTGEN Gold, who'll be keen to make sure that Daniel Downing doesn't get too far away. And on row number 7 is going to be Patrick Falconer for JW Motorsport ahead of Luciano Witvoet for World of Racing. Keep your eyes out for the number 60 driver. He struggled in qualifying. He's battled his way up to P14, and I think now he's going to be feared as though he might be able to break into the top 10 with no weight in the car in this second race. Isaac Doble starts P15 for Doble Sim Race. They had a Goldwyn Motorsport Sam Knowles, with Toby Pross for Aztec Racing and Lee Horn for NXTGEN on road number 9, and Lee Horn really needing to bounce back now after a difficult race number 1. Now with Matthew Addy for NXTGEN and JW Motorsport's Reese Watt, who go toe-to-toe again at the bottom end of the top 20. On row number 11, it's Jake Pitt for Aztec Racing ahead of Duncan Moraes for Goldwyn Motorsport. And then Matthew Sheridan for Aztec Racing and your Am Pulsit and Matt Emmons for Rhino Motorsport complete your top 24. From them, on what will be the 13th row of the grid, it's Luke Jones for JW Motorsport and James Spencer-Scow for Aztec Racing, ahead of Ian Manners for JW Motorsport and Russell Fowler for Performance Link Esports. And then we will have behind them what will be Jonathan Collins for Whiskey Runner Racing and Mitchell West for Mitch West Performance, ahead of Jamie Dory for NXTGEN Pig and Stuart Winers for Track Scotland. Craig Tillerson will take his slot on what will be at the 17th row of the grid for Fusion Racing ahead of Roy Plummer for NXTGEN, ahead of fellow NXTGEN driver Mark Sykes and what will be Gabriel Yilmaz for Aztec Racing starting P36, and then what will be Mark Kemp for 42 will be Motorsport P37 ahead of Nick Clemens for iRacing Esports, ahead of Alan McCain for teammate there to Clemens. iRacing Esports having very mixed fortunes in race 1 in the fact that one of their drivers leading the way out front and the others languishing towards the back of the field. Dylan Mystery will complete your top 40 for Aztec Racing ahead of Tom Delaney for NXTGEN. Costa Chance Constantine for 287 Motorsport. Final complete row of the grid will then be Kevin Smith for Rhino Motorsport, and last but not least, P44, Louis Hesketh, the privateer, with Gavin Gardner listed there. Remember, he is in race control today, taking over from our regular race director. So it will be 44 starters, ladies and gentlemen, and as the field all sit in position, we are only now a few moments away from going green flag races. We do say hello there to James Bostock, GP2, in the YouTube chat, and not too bad, thank you, James. But more importantly, how are you? And as the grid goes ready to go, it's going to be 1 red light, 2 red lights, 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 4 red lights. And it's lights out and away we go for the second time today as Wojciech Swirydowicz looks to rinse and repeat what he did in race number 1, but Sam Smith looking to come back at him already as they make their way down towards the opening corner. But as the blimp camera shows the field roaring their way in towards that opening and braking zone, with everybody coming in towards the left hand and plenty of two wides, all contact there, and that's going to send what will be, I believe, that is Ben Trier and McCluskey going a bit deep as a result. In fact, that's Adam McNally who's gone sideways as further down the order, a further few drivers have had it go wrong. One driver all the way off into the distance. Mark Sykes there in contact with Mitchell West, so therefore it's been disaster further on down. But meanwhile now most of the midfield and upwards are starting to come together and calm things down rather rapidly. But indeed, very mixed fortunes for quite a few drivers there on the race start, and as they now make the way on for returns 3 and 4, everyone's settling down, albeit not without a 3-4 wide there. Jamie Dory in the mix, he tries to carve his way through P28, you saw go 3 wide. We watch Russell Fowler and Ian Manners behind and back out of it in the end as we come back down to the closer cameras there. Well, definitely a fast and frantic opener to race at number 2 here. Indeed, a little bit more intense compared to race number 1. I think everyone taking it easy in race 1 and thinking, well, we survived it all in race 1, now we can push the limits a little bit more in race number 2, and suddenly those limits going back to hold. But meanwhile, Isaac Doble there, oh my goodness, and what's happened to the 65 driver, we're not quite sure. What we can tell you is he's limping along off the racing line as he's rejoined. Cars gone round, and that was Luke Jones who's taking the trip to the grass. I would imagine that Isaac Doble is going to be peeling into the pits here. Yes, he does, and well, as he does so, after 1 lap of racing, it is Wojciech Swirydowicz who leads, but Sam Smith immediately behind him here and trying to put the pressure on. And Smith right now is absolutely dialed in the opening lap of this race, and Swirydowicz still needed a bit more time. And then it's Delbon in P3 ahead of Pike, followed by Mikey Doble in P5, Daniel Down in P6 ahead of Smart, followed by Doble, and then it's going to be, that's Joseph Doble, we should say, in P8 ahead of Patrick Falconer, and Luciano Witvoet completed your top 10 with P11 best rest Alex Meredith at this time as the 44 driver climbs up the rise and over the Okoa Bridge he goes. as they make the way on through turn at number 6 in towards 7. We do of course say hello to Duncan Braze in the YouTube chat and also to Katie Eames in the Facebook chat there. And well, doing well here, thank you Katie, albeit my voice still trying to struggle on as it does. And thank you for the kind words with regards to the commentator over the weekend. But as our drivers have made the way on around here, well right now, battles are plenty still as J Pit 2 wide there. It was Adam Manali, and Manali losing 7 places overall at the start of this race. I think that might be a bit of a typo on our timing tower there, but Manali right now definitely find himself up against the odds here, as meanwhile it's going to be Pitt and Moraes looking up the inside as they power the way down. Pitt trying to get his way across there, but the Aztec Racing driver not being allowed to. The Welshman battling with the South African as they head in towards turn at number 1. 2 wide they enter, and how will they exit? Well, in the end it's Moraes who backs out there. Pitt being absolutely bold as they come and covering off his rivals. Meanwhile going straight on that as James Spazza's taking a trip to the barrier, and the 660 driver, where he was aided on his quest to the barrier or not, I'm not quite sure, but the car being made to go on, and Matt Evans, who was under pressure then, has held on to the AM lead, and Jonathan Collins has gone through. Craig Tillerson looking around the outside, as that is going to be Nick Clements, who makes the most of the manoeuvre up the inside and up the middle of the pair of them, and then Nick Clements makes his way through into what is P28 in the number 13, and Clements died. He's running out of time here to make up some places, but Spazza's car, you can see the look at the front of it, the suspension has been dropped to the front right, and that car grinding its way along. That is going to be a trip to the pits. No questions asked for the Aztec Racing driver, as what is now Craig Tillerson battling Simon Gabriel Yilmaz as they come down through turn 7 8. A bit of contact there. Biddle Trier almost getting hooked into the side of Veloster. They survive it, but Trier almost there having to back out and let Wes Mark Kennel through, but in the end the two Motorsport teammates are able to negotiate the situation safely, and Tillerson able to carry on as well as they head in towards turn at number 12 towards the end of this lap. Alex Meredith gaining a place ahead of Kieran Smart as he moves up in to the first of the top 10 spots. But meanwhile, that's going to be a counter-attack there from Smart. Absolutely late on the brakes there, the battle of the Elantras. And McCluskey gets brought into this fight as we ride on board, with McCluskey looking to go around the outside and practically what is free wide here as Meredith falls back, and McCluskey trying to make an adventure around the outside. But then Meredith backing off, Smart defending well the inside here. And McCluskey gains one but not both as the pro driver in the 28 now looks for a further opportunity. He makes way over the bridge and in towards 6, but as he does so you can see just a little bit further up the road there, Witvoet already up to P9, and the Dutchman having a brilliant start, making great progress, 5 places gained, and looking to gain even more versus Joseph Doble as they come into the dip and up through the left-hander of Brewboy's Bobo corner. Well, right now they all fall back into line of stern formation, but you can imagine at any moment here these drivers will be looking to try and take a move up the inside. But of course this is the difficult part of this race now. Well, they'll notice that the gap to what is at Joseph Doble P7 has started to open up a little bit. It is standing at 1.6 seconds from this pack, and therefore they won't want to let the number 11 driver get away, but they'll also want to try and conquest over each other. But as they make the way down the start of the straight, past the photographer and Marshall in towards the left-hander. Well, meanwhile, Mikey Doe making more places. Adam Delmont has had a trip to the gravel when he's not meant to play sandcastles there. I'm not quite sure what's happened to the Englishman for SRN Extra Gold in terms of what's triggered that. We can tell you what the aftermath is, and we may be able to get a quick replay as to what's happened to Adam Delmont as he cascades all the way down to what is going to be P17, P16 as he bounces with Matthew Sheraton, and as they make the way 2 wide into turn number 4, Delmont not backing off here, and Sheraton neither. These two absolutely stubborn as you like, and as they come, and Sheraton right now, when he gets his teeth into a fight, I can tell you one thing, he does not give in, and brilliant side-by-side racing on for return 6 to 7. You can see the re-swat on the back, but Delmont will take the place in the end. 9 to 2 does not go into 1 through 7 into 8, and Delmont makes his way up, but there comes Sheraton looking back up the inside, forcing the door back open, but in the end Delmont's able to use the Honda's cornering grip in order to break ahead, and now Reece Watt will try and go 2 wide through the dog leg. He's going to be outside in towards Ricardo Corner, has to back off. Adam McNally looks up the inside, but Watt covers him off, seeing it coming, and it is an absolute game of tic-tac-toe here as the SO NXTGEN Gold driver looking to try and make some further progress. He is behind Lee Horn, Manali should be pointed out, and therefore the gains that Manali made on order in the previous race, they will be reset if things finish as they currently stand. As they make the way down towards turns 1 and 2 in towards Coca-Cola Corner, the question is what happened to Adam Delmont on the previous lap, and here is the quick replay, and this was under braking in turns 1 and 2. Little twitch there for Mikey Delmont, and a tap to the inside of Adam Delmont, and Delmont was assisted off the road there, and will the camera angle not be too flattering for what was Doble in terms of the fact, was the door being shut, or did Doble force his way alongside? Well, that will be something that the stewards will take a look at after the races today, but meanwhile take a look back to a further replay. We take a look back to the race start here of your order, and well, how they all got underway, and the major incidents which we did see particularly for what was further down the order of our drivers. And we also did have a bit of an incident for Bedell Trier, who fell well down the order, having started on the second row of the grid. The 42 Motorsport driver being swarmed there with a poor launch off the line, made his way into the opening braking zone here, and on the outside, well, there was a bit of contact with the SO NXTGEN car, and in the end gets sent one way then the other. That explains why Owen Doble's lost the front bumper, as all Trier made contact with him, and then more cars came on down here, but in the end, most drivers making the way through. Mark Sykes there being collected sideways to a degree, and I believe that was in contact with what was the iRacing Esports car of what was, I think that was Nick Clements. They continued to fight for that. Was it your opening a couple of corners there and the drama around it, but in the end, the iRacing Esports car being allowed on through, and Sykes decided he didn't want to battle it anymore. Well, let's come back to your live racing pictures as we reach the halfway point of this race shortly. And we'll speak of Mark Sykes right now. He's continued to crusade his way up the order. Is meanwhile off circuit has been Matt Evans. Oh my goodness! And as I look away from Rivo, I look back and see Sykes in contact there with what looks to be Gabriel Yilmaz, and the 666 driver. I don't think he's going to believe his luck here, as the next driver being sent to the gravel and almost sent on the open lap, and now find his way there on what is lap number 7. The car wounded, and that is going to be a tow to the pits for Mark Sykes by looks of things, as he tries to bring it back together. But as he does so and lets the car roll on, meanwhile your race leader's gone to lap number 8. Swirydowicz still leading, as we say hello to John Meredith in the YouTube chat, and I hope you're doing well, John. And we'll let the drivers make the way onwards. Mikey Doble now into P3, and the Doble Sim Racing driver absolutely head down, looking for a similar move to what he went for with what was one of his rolls earlier on, and in the end he doesn't quite commit to it, knowing that he doesn't want to repeat what happened previously with that contact with Adam Delmont, and therefore now looking up the inside in towards turn number 3. I think Smith respects the fact here that there's not going to be a question of defending. It's going to be either Doble's way or the highway, and in the end Mikey Doble in the number 1 makes his way through into P2, and now has got a 2.5 second gap to close down to hunt down at what will be your race leader Sam Smith. Meanwhile in P3 the prime driver iRacing Esports right now leading the prime class with a comfortable 2.2 second advantage, but remember that Smith has practically got double the success ballast that Downing's got in the car, and therefore both an equal machinery here, both the Hyundai Elantra on paper. Given the pace that Downing was showing towards the end of race number 1, you would imagine he will get attacking distance as this race comes towards its conclusion. And meanwhile Joseph Dole's got Andrew Pike behind for company, and Pike now on the back foot here in the fact that Honda is the fast car in the corners, but the problem is it does have a lot of weight in it compared to what is Joseph Doble, and therefore he'll be looking to try and absolutely snatch onto the rear of the number 11 Veloster and just try to be pulled along as much as possible on the straights as they make the way to lap number 9. But as we look back from the rear of the Doble Sim Racing machine, you can see Pike there better on the braking in terms of able to carry a bit more speed under the retardation of the car, but meanwhile Joseph Doble by comparison just able to naturally hold that track position at this point in time as they come in towards turn number 3, and will Doble have the better run out to the right hand, and now in towards champion curve he goes, and as he does so will he be able to further extend that advantage, the gap 5/10 there as they make their way through, losing the 10th on exit, and that is going to cost him now over the Yokohama Bridge, as Doble in fact struggling there for the right hander, really not having the line he wanted, turning him way too early, and as a result having to restraighten the steering wheel for a bit and then go back to the turning. That's all cost him time, but the pressure is on here, and these two very close on pace as Joseph Doble right now continues to just try and run away where he can. As we look from them, and meanwhile to what is Patrick Falconer. The JW Motorsport driver may not have had the qualifying session he wanted, and indeed have an uphill battle in race number 1, but he's gained 6 places since the start. Into P7 he's gone, and right now the Audi RS3 driver keeping a very eager Luciano Witvoet behind him as well, and as they make the way onwards towards what will be another lap. And up in between as they come on down the start for this straight, but Witvoet right now looking to try and break his way further up into the top 10, and remember that after this race we will have that partial reverse grid anywhere between P13 and P23, so right now for these drivers it's looking to try and get a good number of points to the board. You can see the long pack of cars behind, and we're right towards the end of this pack. It's none other than Matthew Cheverton. Has been asked Matthew Addy taking a look up the inside there of Sam Vidal, couldn't quite find it, but Cheverton all the way over the back of Delmont now as Delmont continues that recovery drive after falling out of the top 10 in that contact with Mikey Doble. And as they make the way on around, meanwhile here we've got a bit of a battle with P21 and what is effectively P13 through to P15 in the Prime class, the last of the points paying positions in the Prime Championship, and Ian Manners right now caught up behind Duncan Reyes, but just ahead of Russell Fowler, and a brilliant freeway battle, 3 different machines, the Honda ahead of the Hyundai Veloster, followed by the Audi RS3, and as they come in towards Bobo Corner with what is Jake Pitt just in front of it as well. I think all eager to get absolutely nip and tuck versus one another in due course, but nobody able to look for the move at this time as they come down towards Recaro corner. I think Fowler here feeling as though there is an opportunity to try and attack, providing the full thing esports driver can get the drive he needs out to one of these corners in order to be able to pull alongside. As we ride aboard and look down over the nose of the number 61 driver here as he makes his way in towards turn number 1 once again. Interesting to note there, the Audi not really gaining on the straight as much as we suspect it would do, and in fact lose it out to a degree, as meanwhile both Moraes and also there with Pitt going deep into the corner. You can see here Manners thinking about it, also going slightly defensive there versus Fowler. I think really trying to serve two purposes in the number 52, and as they make their way out of turn number 3 in towards 4, Fowler getting the better run there out of the initial right-hander and the double right sequence, and Fowler all over the back of Manners once more as they make their way over the Oakover Bridge. And it's interesting to see how Fowler stronger where we'd expect the Audi to struggle, and weaker where we'd expect the Audi to be stronger compared to its rivals. And Fowler definitely finding some magic in this circuit as he makes his way on through it, turns at 7, 8 in towards 9, and well, all 4 drivers there just having a little bit of oversteer on that rear end as they made their way to the corner and didn't set those brake biases as rearward as possible to get the rotation. And well, sometimes a lot of rotation can be too much rotation, albeit they want every little bit they can as they come out of the final corner, well, exactly as they were last time around. But right now it's Pitt who's under increasing pressure here as they make their way on towards it with 4 laps remaining. Murray's looking up the inside, can't quite find it. Manners doing the same. Murray's taking another look now, really trying to get into Pitt's head in terms of making him think of moves coming. Meanwhile, further down the order, we've got the Irish Esports pair of Clemens and McCain, albeit McCain ahead of Clemens as they head on down. Meanwhile, that's to the grass. That's Bedell Trio who takes a trip to the gravel, and meanwhile just parks up there a lap down his Mark Sykes, and Bedell Trio under his own volition, getting it wrong there under braking, trying to carry too much speed. But meanwhile, as he rejoins, we look back up the order inside the top 10, and this is Andrew Pike from the Sim Racing Collective in the 57, still holding on to what is P7 here, with Luciano Witvoet ever close, 3 tenths off. But meanwhile, Patrick Falconer now to 6 tenths away as they head in towards turns 10 and 11. Straight line the way between the apex as they go and onwards towards 12. As they come in towards left hand of the Sim Racing Collective driver right now, I think just eager to try and make sure Witvoet does not find his way through all the way to the end of this race as they head on towards only 3 laps from the end. As the lead battle in terms of that top 5, they have all separated out right now. But Witvoet there getting close, thinking about it, can't quite make it happen. I think trying to tease out move, trying to get Pike just to miss his braking spot. But the one thing about the Sim Racing Collective driver is he doesn't make mistakes. And as they head under the Oakover Bridge, you can see going as defensive as he needs to now. As we look back from the rear of the 57, and there is the World of Racing car right on his heels as they make their way out of the first of the double right low speed corners. In towards Champion Curve they go, and as they come on up towards the Oakover Bridge, right now Pike gets the better exit. He makes it out the rise, but do keep in mind, of course, this Honda down on power and with extra weight in the car, and therefore as he heads in towards the 7-8 right to left combination, Witvoet will just be waiting and looking to attack time and time again. He's got 2 more laps after this one. And Pike right now 64th this one with some time, albeit running wide there. He wants to make a habit of that due to track limit infringements, and also on top of that as well, you don't gain any time by running wide out of these corners. You lose a lot because that grass absolutely slippery. And as they head out to the final corner, where it's a run down the start for this straight, this could be Witvoet's opportunity. He's a bit closer this time as he builds up the speed, and as they head onwards towards what we turn one. Pike knows it's coming, but he's going to be a switch back to the inside here. Brilliant dummy send from Witvoet, and in the end can't quite make it. Pike breaks later, as is the Honda's right, of course, to be able to make the break-in, and in the end Pike holds on, but Witvoet really getting eager now to try and make this move happen. They're going to be battling down in towards turn number 3, but Pike will hold the position. As meanwhile, we've had an incident for Toby Prosser, who's fallen off circuit at turn number 2, rejoins, but a crumpled rear end. I think he might have been aided in that trip, but meanwhile, before all of that, a good spot for Alan Louv with regards to a move being made. And Duncan Ryan's by Ian Manners, who dives up the inside there towards Jay Pitt, and in the end gets his elbows out. And the JW Motorsport driver, well, he's not taking any prisoners now as they make the way in towards the corner. Russell Fowler says, let me play as well, but I think they're a little bit clumsy under braking, and the 2 Audi drives in while Fowler readdresses the positions. But Pitt right now absolutely being bruised and battered his way down at the order. But as they make the way through, what happened to Duncan Rice, who was in this battle? Well, here's the replay. As he made a look up the inside into turn number 12, contact between himself and Pitt, and Murray's been sent round, falling onto the apex curve, but thankfully able to turn the car back uphill onto the grass. And well, if he'd not been able to do that, he would have fallen a long way down the circuit, getting a long way down the order, but still frustrating them, making the dive to the inside and just not being able to pull off the move after the door was squeezed shut on him. At least he'll feel that way. Of course, I think Pit will have a different opinion of the matter. And, well, thankfully, that's why we're not the stewards, ladies and gents. But as we are onto the final lap of racing here in our second race of the day at the Oran Park Raceway in the Narellan of Sydney of Australia. And as we do, we're looking at Fowler still trying to find his way past Pit. And indeed, Pit right now absolutely holding on here as Fowler's going to take a look to the inside. Will he go for it on the brake? And he tries, but no success. Meanwhile, Luciano Witvoet still holding on to P7 here as he's lost the run on Patrick Falcon. At a second is the gap now. But meanwhile, Kieran Smart right there behind, and Andrew Pike, in fact, has pulled back to P9 off camera. But meanwhile, we must look from them to your leaders, ladies and gentlemen, as he makes his way out of the final corner. He is going to make it 2 wins out of 2 here today so far. And Wojciech Swirydowicz, absolutely faultless, takes another win for Semper Racing ahead of Mikey Doble, who is your runner-up, and Sam Smith makes it 2 prime wins out of 2 and 2 overall podiums out of 2. A P3 overall for iRacing Esports header Daniel Downing, your run-up in the prime class. P4 overall, Joseph Doble comes on throw. Then take P5 ahead of Patrick Falconer. Luciano Witvoet, P7, 7 places gain. Great drive for him. Kieran Smart finishes off the prime podium, P3 in class. P8 overall for Track Scotland header Andrew Pye and Benji McCluskey, and Alex Meredith, best of the rest, P11. Meanwhile, in the AM class, he is going to make it 2 out of 2, and then he's kept out of trouble. He's kept to calm and consistent. He's moving side to side. You know that he's happy, ladies and gentlemen. Matt Evans is back-to-back AM winner here with the second race of the day. P28 overall for him. Jonathan Collins makes it another AM podium. P2 this time for Whiskey Runner Race after that P3 in the first race. And Craig Tillotson, meanwhile, is going to come on through to take what is a rare, but still a well-earned AM podium there for Fusion of Racing. Congratulations to the Veloster driver, head of Roy Plummer, who missed out on the podium, but not far behind. And in fact, he takes P4 in the AM class, his best result of the season so far in class, but also overall P31 this time. And, well, with most of the drivers having finished the race, James Mazesgal making his way to the line, and also with his Kevin Smith. We're just waiting out on Dylan Mystery, who just parked up there, and, well, I believe the number 29 driver may have effectively finished a lap down given the car is parked up. But ladies and gentlemen, what a race. And as what is our leaders make their way into the pit lane, a fantastic set of drives throughout the field, whether it's in the top 10 or further on down. And, well, as Swirydowicz now knows, that's 2 wins out of 3, and indeed taking the lion's share of points today, regardless of how the final race goes. And Sam Smith the same. Well, as they all come down pit lane, it won't be too long now before we do have what is our AM drives making the way for an Andrew Pike that caused a bit of a traffic jam there, and we're a bit cheeky with the 57 driver. The iRacing Esports drivers stacking up on top of each other, and I think Pike having a little bit of laugh, and they'll have a chat about that down in the pit lane afterwards. Whereas Matt Emmons makes his way into the pit lane, they all gradually feed the way through, and, well, it looks like the 504 there deciding to make its way to the barrier instead, and that would have been the car. I do believe, well, I thought it would be motorsport drivers, well, one of them missing the pit entry, but not all of them. Was they all coming down? Well, it's time to take a look at those race results subject to any stewards inquiries, and here they are. So after another 15 laps of racing in race number 2 of round 9 of season 6 of the NXTCC, brought to you in iRacing, powered by IMB Racewear, Wojciech Swirydowicz making it 2 wins out of 2 so far at the Oran Park Raceway ahead of Mikey Doble, and the Semper Racing driver looking absolutely faultless by 6 tenths over the Doble Sim Racing driver. Indeed, defending champion being kept at bay by what is this season's overall champion, and from them, well, he may not be chasing for what is the Pro-Am Championship win given the points delta, but the iRacing Esports driver of Sam Smith making it back-to-back wins and definitely showing what is absolutely brilliant credentials in the number 27, and also to be on that overall podium once again. Daniel Downing, P4 there for Goldwing Motorsport, taking second place in the Prime class, 2 seconds behind his rival ahead of Joseph Doble for Double Sim Racing. That was your top 5, and then Patrick Falconer were well earned at P6 for JW Motorsport, fending off the fast charging Luciano Witvoet, who took P7 for World of Racing, but still congratulations to the Dutchman in going from P14 all the way through to P7 at the close. Kieran Smart, P8 there for Track Scotland, taking the 3rd place spot in the Pro-Am class, and that was Smith, Downing and Smart on the Pro-Am podium, head of Andrew Pike for the Sim Racing Collective, and Benji McCluskey, who completed the top 10 for NXTGEN Ping. The NXTGEN teammates after them of was Alex Meredith and Lee Horn, line up P11 at P12 in that finishing order, with Horn having a better end to what was his second race today compared to the first one, and will claw back the points that he lost on Adam McNally from race number 1. And then Sam Knowles P13 for Goldwyn Motorsport, ahead of Matthew Addy for NextGen, and Adam Delmont completing your top 15 overall for SRL and NextGen Gold. Matthew Sheraton P16 ahead of Adam McNally, with Reese Watt P18 for JW Motorsport, and to complete your top 20, it was Toby Prosser and Ian Manners, with Prosser having that late mistake cost him dear and making him fall down the order. But from Manners in P20 to Jake Pitt in P21 for Aztec Racing, he's been able to sneak his way into those potential reverse grid positions, as has Warner's Russell Fowler and Duncan at Moraes. The Goldwyn Motorsport driver P23 there, and lastly eligible positions ahead of Alan McCain with the iRacing Esports driver fended off teammate Nick Clemens to line, and then Luke Jones P26 ahead of Ben Altria. Matt Emmons came on P28 to make it back-to-back AM wins for Verano Motorsport, and your top 30 being completed by the AMs of Jonathan Collins and Craig Tillerson, who were, of course, your 3 AM podium finishers. And from the Whiskey Runner Racing and the Fusion Racing drives, we then had Roy Plummer P31 for NextGen, only what was 1.2 seconds behind. Isidore P32 after a misfortunate second race a day. Gary Williams has the same P33 ahead of Mitchell West, and then James Spencer-Scout and Kevin Smith completing your lead lap finishers to P36. Behind the Verano Motorsport driver, Dylan Mystery for Aztec Racing a lap down, as was Stuart Wynes, and indeed misfortune finding the Track Scotland driver after that great qualifying session. Louis Hesketh and Jamie Dory also a lap down there to P40. 2 laps down to Costa Chats Continental, P41, ahead of 3 laps down Mark Sykes, 4 laps down to Mark Kent, and they were classified as your final finishers as they completed over half the race distance. And then you had your retiree of what was Tom Delaney there, 44 starters and what was 43 classified finishers, and Gavin Garner listed there, albeit as our race director, ladies and gentlemen. And well, what a second race a day, and we've still got one more race to come, of course, and that will be what will be the partial reverse grid race. And without further ado, let's take you through that grid draw. And indeed, as we do cut to the commentary booth very shortly, and well, that cut coming in as of now. Good evening to you all, and I hope you're all doing well. And it's great to see so many of you always enjoying the racing action in this 9th round of Season 6 of the NXTCC. For the uninitiated, here's the Lottery Bowl. We've got the numbers 6 through to 12 inside. Very shortly, I'm going to close my eyes, shuffle the balls around, and draw 2 out, add the numbers together, and that will be where we reverse the grid from for today in our final race here in Australia. So without further ado, let's do the draw. And that's the initial shuffle, and we draw our first ball out of the bowl, and it is going to be the number 7. So right now we could potentially be looking at a smaller reverse grid compared to last time out, where we did see 18 as our reversal number. But as we now draw our second number, and as we pull it out of the bowl, our final number is going to be the number 11, so it's the 7-11 combination, and that will mean that it is going to be 18 again, back-to-back number 18, and therefore Reese Watt will be taking a reverse grid pole for what will be your final race of the day, and he'll be joined on the front row by Adam McNally, and it means we have got 10 primes inside of the top 18. In fact, it's going to be the best part of what is 8 primes inside the top 10. It's going to be close, and well, I think our pros are going to have their work cut out for them. But the question is, ladies and gentlemen, could we see another Pro-Am overall winner, or will we see one of our pros form their way and fight their way through? All that and more is coming up shortly, and we'll be back in approximately 5 to 6 minutes time for the build-up to our final race of the day. But before that, of course, a word from our title sponsor for this season, and that is IMB Racewear. We will see you shortly. And we return for one last time this evening for race number 3 of round 9 of the NXTCC at Season 6, powered by IMB Racewear. Another 15 laps await our drivers here as the sun is setting and indeed the headlights are going on. And as our drivers put in their final practice laps, with only 2 minutes to go, we got to see a charge through the field from Mikey Doble in what was race number 2. But of course, he, like many who finished up towards the front, will now have to do it all over again. Our top 18 reversal mean that the majority of our pro top 10 finishers, indeed our pro in the top 15, we starting well down and outside that top 10 order. Indeed, it is going to be a top 10 dominated by primes, all eager to make progress. And the one prime who sits at the top of it all will be this man, Witvoet for JW Motorsport. He's no stranger to what is taking overall wins in the prime class. And indeed, he was the first ever prime overall winner all the way at the Motorsport Arena Oschersleben in what was season 2 of the NXTCC, if my memory serves me correctly, and a brilliant reverse grid race, no doubt about it, where he held on despite the pressure of primes and also pros around him. And will can the number 32 drive potentially come through to take what would be an overall victory and a long time since he's seen a pro and win of his own as well this season. We'll have to see, but as he makes his way on around the Coca-Cola corner there, of course, he's one of those drivers, much like many, who always does get fired up in these very tense situations. And, well, as Doug Gray says in the YouTube chat there, a little bit sarcastically, I can imagine, we have trouble driving in the day, light now the dark. Indeed, as the darkness gradually creeps in, there have been a few incidents over the course of the races today so far, and what I can tell you, a few drivers have had to be given a little bit of telling off down in the paddock in between the races. Well, right now, one more race to go, and everybody absolutely set and ready to go. Indeed, it's going to be a crowded grid, and Mitchell West will be looking to make his way further up the order once again after what has really been a bit of a yo-yo evening for the Australian driver, or morning I should say, given that the relative time zones, in the fact that whilst he'd have a reasonable qualifying session early in race number 1, he has to try and make his way back up from, and the same again in race number 2, but perhaps he can have better fortune in race number 3 as he makes his way on the road, and as he does so, we see Katie Eames there in the Facebook chat cheering on Verano with good luck for race number 3, and Matt Emmons, of course, not in the reverse grid, none of the M's in that reverse grid. He'll be looking to try and make it 3 wins out of 3 in the M class today. Can he score perfection here, or will he be thwarted at the final hurdle? Well, all that and more, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to find out the answers for, because you know what time it is. It is time for us to head to the grid. So as our drivers make their way onto the grid for the final time today, this is how they'll line up. With the top 80 reverse grid, it's Witvoet on pole for JW Motorsport. The prime pole sitter joined on the front row by the fellow prime of what will be Adam McNally for SRL with NXTGEN Gold. Matthew Sheraton lines up P3 for Aztec Race, with your first pro driver being Adam Delmont for SRL with NXTGEN Gold in P4 behind his teammate in line formation. Matthew Addy starts P5 for NXTGEN. He'll be joined on the third row of the grid by Goldwyn Motorsport Sam Van Olst, who's definitely put in a lot of fighting form today, and he'll be looking to keep Lee Horn for NXTGEN behind him, as well as Wes Horn's teammate Alex Meredith, who starts P8. Benji McCluskey for NXTGEN Pink and Andrew Pike for the Racing Collective round off your top 10. Keep your eyes out for Pike. If he is able to clear some of those primes early, he may go hunting after the overall win, given that Honda's performance so far in his capable hands. Kieran Smart will start P11 for Track Scotland ahead of Luciano Witvoet for World of Racing, and the Dutchman as well, a little bit away to the car, but we've seen him come roaring through the field over the course of today, and can he go even further? On row number 7 will be Patrick Falconer for JW Motorsport and Joseph Doble for Doble Sim Racing ahead of Daniel Dowden for Goldwyn Motorsport and Sam Smith for Iris Esports. Mikey Doble starts P17 for Doble Sim Racing ahead of Wojciech Swirydowicz, who's going to look to try and make it 3 out of 3 today, albeit I think the weight and the calibre of the field in front of him may make that very troublesome indeed. And it's going to be Toby Pross who starts P19 for Aztec Racing. Unfortunate to miss out reverse grid bowl by a single place, being in here will have the company of JW Motorsport's Ian Manners, who starts P20 alongside. Jake Pitt starts off our 11th row for Aztec Racing ahead of Russell Fowler for Pause State Esports, and then we will have behind him Doug Brace for Goldwyn Motorsport and Alan McCain for Iris Esports. And then going to what is row number 13, it's Nick Clemens for iRacing Esports and Wes Luke Jones for JW Motorsport. With Ben Trier starting P27 for Tilby Motorsport ahead of Ampol Sitter Matt Emmons for Verano Motorsport, who looks to make it 3 out of 3 here today. Jonathan Collins starts P at 29 for Whiskey Runner Racing ahead of Craig Tillerson for Fusion of Racing. That's your top 30. Then Roy Plummer P31 for NXTGEN ahead of Isaac Doble for Doble Sim Racing. Gabriel Yilmaz, P33 for Aztec Racing ahead of Mitchell West of Mitchell West Performance, P34. And as we continue to make our way down the order, we segue all the way down to what would be next up James Vasquez, P35 for Aztec Racing ahead of Kevin Smith for Westbrado Motorsport. And there will be Dylan Bishop, P37 for Aztec Racing ahead of Stuart White of Track Scotland. Jamie Dory starts there with P39 for extra Peter ahead of Costa Track Scotland today to do completion top 40 for Racing Motorsport. And there will be Mark Sykes from P41 for next gen ahead of Mark Kent. The battle of the two marks there for the final full row of the grid on what will be at row number 21. And behind the 40 will be Motorsport driver, your last starter, P43, will be Tom Delaney for next gen. He starts last but not least, but the order is practically set, ladies and gentlemen. A couple of drivers yet to get into position. But as we look back towards the front of the field, it will be this man who's got it all to do from pole, and he's got a short run towards turn number 1. Can he get the launch of the Audi, or will he be beaten to post by Adam McNally? Well, the lights are going on. It's Reese wants to play with, as it's going to be 1 red light, 2 red lights, 3 red lights, 4 red lights, 5 red lights. And it's lights out, away we go as the field gets underway. And what struggles off the line, it's going to be a good launch initially from Adam McNally, but now the Audi moves into second and third gear, and this is where he excels versus Honda. What immediately cuts over to the inside here, knowing he's got to go defensive. McNally looking around, sorry, Sheraton, and Sheraton in contact, and McNally turns to the gravel. Sheraton collects the car back together, but McNally has gone to the dust, and as a result, he won't be too pleased with that. And Sheraton up into P2 immediately on the charge here, and we will get a replay of what happened there in due course of the field. Now Constantine is its way into turn number 3, and as they do, we're looking further back. Wojciech Swirydowicz already up to P15, get ahead of Mikey Doble and a couple of other drivers in a quick succession as they make their way on through the next right-hander and turn at number 4 at Champion Curve. And as they do, will Mikey Doble side by side here with Russell Fowler, who's had a great start overall, making plenty of places. They come over the ridge, and Doble hopes to get his elbows out there to make sure Fowler doesn't obstruct him as they make their way down towards turn number 7. But as they do, looking up the inside of Fowler, Alan McCabe finding the space in order to make the progress there. The RAC Esports driver 8 places gained to the Graham class already, and what is there, I do believe the best part of 5 places gained overall with the medley and the mix up of the field. Meanwhile, in the AM class, Jonathan Collins has found his way out to P25, where Emmons is in P28. It's not as though he's had a bad start as me. Well, hold the phone, that's Sam Benoist who's gone wide there and drops all the way down the order. Further contact between multiple drivers there as they all stack up together into the final corner. And right, there's going to be a squeeze there between Emmons and Knowles, but Knowles in the end will make his way on around the outside of Emmons and on to another lap they go. But after 1 lap racing, it is Reese Watt who still leads ahead of Matthew Sheraton, who's P2, followed by Adam Delwood P3, then it'll be Matthew Andy P4, Lee Horn P5, followed by Andrew Pike, then Patrick Falconer, then Benji McCluskey P8 ahead of Luciano Witvoet. Oh, goodness me, hold on there, that's Patrick Falconer, who's been scooped around, does a 360 Perez as he brings the car back together. Well, he'll rejoin there. He's going to fall all the way down the order as he tries to get the car under control. The seas parts around him, and well, the drivers around him there have been able to avoid what could have been a major further domino effect incident as he drops down to P18 side by side with Matt as he goes, as they make their way over the crest and through the right-hander. Well, Manners right now in the end, ducking back behind his teammate. Meanwhile, Alex Meredith there taking a trip to the weeds, and as he rejoins out of turn 6 into 7, the next-gen driver forward wide. Was that a mistake of his own volition or not? We'll have to try and understand when we can. But as they make the way on through at Momo Corner, well, right now everyone seems to calm it down. And meanwhile, in the AM class, it's Gabriel Yilmaz now who is leading. Jonathan Collins was leading for a brief moment. I'm not quite sure what's happened to Collins, but he's dropped all the way down to P39. But Yilmaz is into P26 for Aztec Racing. But he's got the great presence of Craig Tillotson, who is 3 places back in P29 to consider. As here's comes Stuart Whiteis, who's going to look to make his way on past here in the drag race between the Audi and the Hyundai. As they charge the way on down, meanwhile there has been a change of leader, and Matthew Sheraton's made his way into the lead ahead of Reese Watt. We'll take a look at that as well, as their Gabriel Yu has not been passed. But as I try to make the way on through, well, firstly the replay of how the lead exchange hands is the big question that we do want the answer for immediately, and what I believe we are going to be getting that as of this replay that appears on screen. And well, in the end, Reese Watt battling side by side here through the dogleg. There must have been an error to cause him to lose a bit of pace coming out of Momo, and Sheraton just going up the inside there, sliding his way into lead. And after that, well, the move was definitely made, going down towards turn number 1. No change for it, albeit you will see here as they drag race the way on down, what in the tow. thinking about it. Shepperton in the end holding the outside line, and Shepperton banking on the fact that he can carry more speed into the corner and having to back off. But as they exchange the lead there, we also take a look at what happens to Jonathan Collins from the lead of the AM class, and this was on lap number 2, made his way out of turn number 4. Otherwise he went as your AM leader, and in the end being turned around there, the face of what was, I do believe, the Irish Esports cars, and that would have been Alan McCain he came into an altercation with. So the two drivers there definitely not pleased with how they've settled that. And as we return to your live at Racing Pictures, still more to come as Joseph Doble on your live screen on lap number 4, making his way on the inside there of Luciano Witvoet to take P8 as they come down in towards the right-hander at turn at number 3. But as they do, Allsted a bit further behind, you saw Mikey Doble trying to make his way up the inside of what is Kieran Spark to fend off what is the challenge of the Track Scotland driver P12. Doble does so successfully for now, but I would imagine as they make their way over the rise, with Smart having a lot less weight in that car and looking very strong, he's going to be pushing more, but I don't think he's going to get a chance to, as Sam Smith, your winner back-to-back so far in the Pro class, he's down in what is P14, and will of course have to try and make his way through with the P2 success ballast, and right now really trying to pick and probe his way past Smart with Daniel Downing not too far behind, and with Daniel Downing definitely with the results he's achieved so far today, he'll be feeling as though now it's a three-way fight in the Prime Championship regardless of how this race ends, albeit he'll want to try and get a bit closer if he can to Lee Horn as his main target, with the fact that we do have what is Adam McNally all the way down in P30 or P80 in the Prime class, so he won't be getting any points in this race should it finish as it currently stands. So Horn versus Down and McNally are going to be finally poised going into the season finale, but meanwhile Matthew Sheraton has had an error at turn number 2 and the Aztec Racing driver has fallen down to P4. Reese Watt has retaken the Prime lead, and as he makes his way on through, will Sheraton right now be getting his head down and thinking he's got to go and do it all over again, as here's the replay to explain what happened. As they made the way down, car coming out the pit lane there, taking it easy, and Sheraton in the end just overturning the rear of the car into braking and sliding across the inside grass to the gravel, catches it in time now, and I think might have been a little bit perturbed by the car coming out the pit lane. That was Kevin Smith for Rhino Motorsport, had a dismal start to his race, so in the end Sheraton with an error and falling down the order, and now with Andrew Pike for company right behind him. Pike here all over the rear. Oh, Sheraton has been right on board in the battle for P4, and as they make the way in towards what is at turn number 12, Pike dive into the inside. It's a lovely dive, but in the end Sheraton sees it coming, squeeze as much as he can, and well, as they make the way the drag race now down towards turn at number 1, where it's going to be Pike on the inside versus Sheraton to the outside. The Audi will have the overspeed, and well, Indian Pike's going to fall back here, but I don't think he'll give up easily, and will Sheraton absolutely hustle his way as Pike again get it stopped on the brakes, takes a bit too much apex curve, it puts the car into 2 wheels for a brief moment, and still too wide as they make the way onwards towards turn number 3. And as they do, Sheraton defending hard here and holding on, but what this will mean is your top 3 will just absolutely storm away, and Addy already 2 seconds clear practically and chasing after Adam Delvin and Reese Watt. So therefore as they come out of champion curve right now, it is going to be Pike who finds himself the first of many caught up behind Sheraton, as being, oh my goodness, there's been a bit of an altercation there coming through turn number 4, and as they try to clear the airways of the circuit, it looks as though there might have been an incident involving with Alex Meredith and a couple of other drivers trying to understand what exactly has happened, but the outcome is the fact that Alex Meredith has dropped all the way down to P22 in all of that, and I think it's gone very, very wrong there for Meredith and a few others. So we do try to understand what the incident was, and I think here we are, ladies and gentlemen, here's a replay to explain exactly what happened. So this was Alex Meredith going, in fact this was only moments ago, going quite slowly here, and we're just cutting across the grass. I think the car already damaged, so something occurred earlier, and we're not going to get the full replay as to what happened. The car limping along there, so Alex Meredith's race taking a very difficult turn, but as they make the way on down towards turn at number 1, I can see the note there from Andrew from the YouTube chat to say that something has occurred between Jake Pitt and Ian Manners. We'll try and get a replay of that when we can. We're going to focus on the live and pictures for a bit now, as Fowler chases after what is there, I do believe, Sam Smith, and we'll look up the inside here into turn number 3, and Smith really struggling with the success balance of the car, and Fowler just able to yoink the place off him on the braking with an absolute classic move into turn number 3 as they make the way on through it. Meanwhile in the AM class, well right now here is your AM leader Gabriel Yilmaz for Aztec Racing, with the problem he's going to have is the fact he has got Adam McNally behind him, the Pro-Am driver, P25, but then he's got Mark Sykes and James Spazisgow absolutely clustered up here, and what I can imagine that Yilmaz at this point will want to try and let Spazisgow work against Sykes and enable what would be a 1-2 in the AM class for Aztec Racing. You see Yilmaz defending hard versus McNally, who will go to the inside there, losing the rear of the car slightly on the apex curve, but it causes Yilmaz to have to go a bit wide. Sykes then tries to make it free wide, can't find the space, and Sykes will lose out there as he backs off, avoids going to the grass, and well, Sykes, he had the right idea, but the wrong place to try and go for it. That short run out of Momo into the dog leg cost him dear, and now Spazisgow and Yilmaz will be running together, and I would imagine that Aztec Racing will swap their drivers around, knowing that Spazisgow is the driver here who needs all the points if he wants to take what will be this AM Championship fight into the season finale, as they head in towards what will be turns 1 and 2. Coming in towards left-hander, they'll go. We'll see the question there from John Meredith as to what happened to Alex Meredith, one instant after the other, and well, as we do try to find out what happened to both Alex Meredith and also to what was, excuse me, Ian Manners. Those replays coming up when we can, ladies and gentlemen. I believe we may now have a little bit more of the story regarding Alex Meredith, and here it is, the replay from lap number 6. Having to slam on the brakes there, so there was a multi-car contact in front of him between the Irish Esports car and was Alan McCain and also the Goldwyn Motorsport car, and was they made the way over the rise. We lose the footage then, but Alex made it onto the grass at that point, I do believe. So the impact with the Irish Esports car, I believe, causing damage to the suspension of Meredith's car, and then we saw him taking the trip along the grass to steer clear of everybody. So that explains what happened to Alex and Meredith there, in the fact just coming into the scene of an incident that already occurred at what was Champion Curve. Contact with the side of the Irish Esports car of what I believe was Alan McCain, and then it all went wrong. But they did well to avoid a pile-up, as Katie Eames has said, but at the same time as well, not the way that Alex Meredith would have wanted that to go. It has cost him dear, albeit as we now look back to your live pictures, this is the top 3 fight for the AM victory between Yilmaz Spazisgow and Sykes, who Aztec Racing drives right now, just trying to keep Sykes behind. And meanwhile, a bit further back, Craig Tillerson trying to put pressure out towards the chance gone down to for P4, but misses his braking point, goes into the gravel, and the car does come back together. And Tillerson catching that very well indeed. And well, I'd imagine he won't want to make that mistake again in a hurry, because that could have been race ending. But meanwhile, looking all the way from down the field to the front of the field, as they make the way out of the final corner to get ready to go on to lap number 10. The laps chalking up very quickly indeed. Well, Reese were under pressure from Adam Delman as they charged away and down, and will what, trying to break the toe there as they segue their way in towards the opening corner. But as they come down towards Coca-Cola, what goes defensive. Meanwhile, Delman using the brakes of the Honda, cuts back to the inside under trail braking. It's a lovely bit of car control there for Delman, but what sees it coming and carries the speed through the corner. But Delman now will definitely be in the attacking spot as they make the way in towards turn number 3. We look back here for the rear of the race leader, and the 32 driver, no success balance, the same that Adam Delman. They are in the cars as they wade in on clean setups, and as they come through Champion Curve, will Matthew Addy right there at the back. But of course, this battle in between the trio of Green, Matthew Sheraton back into the fold is 1.5 seconds back, and keeping the rest of the top 10 behind him for the time being. As they go into turns of 7 and 8, you can hear there the Audi constantly revving almost up towards what is the top of the gears, and well, our Audi driver of Reese Watt definitely having to manage what is a very tricky gearbox of this Audi. Normally works very nicely at most circuits, the fact it does accelerate very quickly, but a circuit like this where you struggle to get into 5th, let alone 6th gear, well, then you have got to make those decisions of running close to the rev limiter. As they come out of the final corner, Delman once again and get in within 2 tenths. They make the way on towards the timeline, and well, Delman will have another opportunity here to try and think about the move as they get ready to do battle in towards turn number 1 with what is 5 laps remaining. And will what this time holding his position, Delman going in behind and thinking about it, but not quite able to poke his way up the inside. Meanwhile, further back, Luciano Witvoet defending hard on the inside versus Mikey Doble. Now up to P10. Doble squeezes his way to the inside and running on the rear bumper there. Oh, that what is Witvoet. And as they make the way up through the left-hander, remember this is a key battle for P2 in the overall championship here. The last and the first now accolade that is available, with the championship being sealed as B. Well, Wojciech Swirydowicz there running on the inside versus Kieran Smart, seeing the opportunity, the door open, and just naturally bleeding his way to the inside there. And number 80 driver gaining another place as Toby Prosser tries to make his way up the inside in towards Yokohama Bridge. He does that, and Prosser following what it is as the pro driver on through it. A lovely bit of opportunism there for the Aztec Racing driver against P12, and will move up into what is P5 there in the Prime class in his battle with Kieran Smart. But as they come out of what is Momo Corner and onwards they'll go towards the dog leg from them. Will mean while we do look a little bit further down the order to Nick Clemens versus Daniel Downing, and also Isaac Double just in front. And Daniel Downing, after what has been a stellar first 2 races of the day, of course, now having started all the way down in what was, I do believe, a P15, and with quite a significant amount of weight in the car now, really feeling that weight as he tries to hunt down Clemens and also Isaac Doble, but that progress being very gradual indeed as they turn onto the next lap. Meanwhile, that's Isaac Doble in front, losing the rear of the car and managing to go between his rivals there, and well, that could have been a horror show moment for the double sim racing driver. Indeed, it still has been, but only taking himself out of the race, and well, I think they're definitely a frightful moment for the 65 driver, but it could have been far, far worse. And was he toast the pits there, his race comes to a close. Very unfortunate for Isaac Doble just losing it under braking. And was we get the replay there of what exactly happened with the onboard. Let's listen. Flicks the apex curve, tries to get the car to settle down, and in the end he's just a passenger in the car and just straight in to the barrier. And what I can imagine he'll be quite shaken in his sim rig. But meanwhile, as we come back to your live pictures and to your leader, we'll reswap right now with what is 3 laps to go when he comes across the timeline. Well, Adam Delwant there once again, but this time 2.5 tenths back, not as close as he was on the previous 2 laps. And what keeping control at the moment, well, I can imagine that Delwant is built up to crescendo on the last couple laps, if not the final lap, as they make the way in. In fact, Delwant here looking up the inside, gets the better run under braking. What's left the door open? Delwant riding the apex curve, and in the end the car bouncing on and off the curb multiple times. That prevents Delwant from getting the traction he needs, and Reeswatt just, and I say just, doing enough by millimetres there to be able to hold on, as meanwhile Andrew Pike battling up the inside here. Matthew Sheraton on through the opening couple of corners and completing the move, it would seem, through turn number 3 into 4, and the Sim Racing Collective driving now up into 4th place, 2 seconds behind Matthew Addy, and looking for an opportunity to make some more places before this race is all over, and the first of many a drive to finally find their way past Matthew Sheraton. And well, Benji McCluskey, the next driver up on that hit list, as Lee Horn, also there in P7, says, could I come through too? Because Horn right now would love to take on Matthew Sheraton and take what would be his one and only podium here today if he can. And well, for Lee Horn, it's definitely a day of limit damage limitation once again, the same for Adam McNally. And meanwhile, the fact that we do have with Daniel Downing a bit further down the order, but it was 2 great results in the first 2 races of the day. We will definitely level the playing field going into that season finale in the Proms. But as they make their way down the start finish straight, meanwhile, there's your leaders once again. And what this time when Delwant on his inside, not able to find his way through, or is he under brake? And Delwant this time does get fully alongside into the apex, doesn't ride the apex curve. It's now going to be a drag race, and the Audi on the inside in towards 3. Meanwhile, it'll be the Honda on the outside. And as they make their way under brake, and Delwant here, knowing he's got the better brakes and also the corner grip. The problem is he hasn't got the acceleration on the inside line of the Audi, and Reeswatt manages to hold on in the end just about as they make their way up towards the Okoma Bridge. They'll have one more lap after this one, and Reeswatt right now absolutely digging in here and trying to make it his 2nd ever overall win as they come through. Meanwhile, further down the order, Daniel Downing exchanging blows here with Nick Clemens, as that is going to be Russell Fowler trying to look his way out the inside over Yokohama, not able to, as they make their way on around. Well, meanwhile, off camera in the Amley battle, Spencer Scout is leading ahead of Sykes, albeit by what is 2 seconds, as Sykes has found his way past Gabriel Yilmaz, but it seems like it's coming at the cost of a significant amount of time. Well, as they make their way onwards to Primamo Corner, you can see there Clemens absolutely hustling as he makes his way into dogleg. White flag is out, the final lap gets underway, and well, that means we come back to our leaders, ladies and gentlemen. Here is Watt versus what is Delwant as they make the way in towards left hand, and Delwant loses the rear of the car, brakes too late, and in the end catches the car in time, but Reeswatt won't be under any further pressure in towards turn number 3. Meanwhile, Luciano Witvoet on the inside as they make the way down. But in fact, that's going to be Mikey Doble on the inside versus Witvoet, and Doble moves into P9 here as he takes the place of the Dutchman. And then it's going to Wojciech Swirydowicz just behind, and well, that's a key pass for Doble. He needs that in order to get himself back into the fight for P2 going into the season finale. As Swirydowicz now looking around the outside of the Dutchman through turn 3 into 4, squeezes his way back to the inside there. But Witvoet having none of it, he knows he can't afford to lose any places at this point, as all those points will be found wanting. And Kieran Smart and Toby Prosser stumble over each other's toes here as they make their way over the bridge and onwards towards the 2nd half of the lap. And it's Prosser still on the outside, Smart on the inside as they come on to break it, but Kieran Smart will hold the position. gentlemen. But as they do, Crossing now comes back out the inside towards Momo corner, but we need to look to leaders, ladies and gentlemen, because they're too wide coming through the final corner, albeit Reeswatt's got the inside, and well, there's going to be no place to go for Adam Delmon. It's going to be a drag race to the line, but for the second time in his NXTCC career, Reeswatt becomes an overall winner, and your prime winner as well for JW Motorsport ahead of Adam Delmon, with Matthew Addy taking the third place spot, run up in the prime class. Andrew Pike takes P4 ahead of Matthew Sheraton, and then it will be Benji McCluskey P6 ahead of Lee Horn, with Joseph Doble, Mikey Doble and Luciano Witvoet completing your top 10. Meanwhile, further down the order, James Mansesgal is going to come on through and return to his form of taking what will be at the race 3 wins in the AM class. You see Mark Sykes there just behind him, but Mansesgal has done enough in the end to take P23 overall. Sykes will take what will be P2 in the AM class, and we're not sure if it's quite enough for Sykes to have taken the AM Championship crown. Update on that, of course, going into your season finale next week, and Gabriel Yilmaz will complete what will be a 1-3 on that AM podium there in a good end today for Aztec Racing. But as our drivers come through, Jonathan Collins with what is P26 just ahead of Sam Smith and Patrick Falconer, and Craig Tillerson at the end did find his way head across the Chats Continental to take P30 there, or P5 of the AM class for Fusion Racing, with Chats Continental taking his best result of the season with a P31 overall for 287 Motorsport, with more importantly a P6 the AM class there, head of Matt Emmons, who was unfortunate not quite to make it 3 AM wins out of 3 today, but still 2 in the bank, plus also was a P7 in class. I don't think he'll complain at that. With all of our drivers having finished this race now, will mean, well, Reeswatt into the pit lane there, and it will be absolutely jubilant scenes down in the pit lane for the JW Motorsport outfit, in the fact the 32 driver will be absolutely ecstatic in what is another overall win, his second ever overall win. Indeed, it has been the best part of 4 seasons since he took what was his first one. Indeed, became the first ever Pro-Am overall winner, but having to fend off Adam Delmon lap after lap, and in the end, the Honda driver was able to get alongside, but not in the right places, and that was the difference, with Matthew Addy taking the second place spot in the prime class on the P3 overall, a return to form for the 777 driver, no doubt about it. And well, as Mansesgal makes his way on at pit entry, he will of course be awaiting the update once the provision results are published after the race today, to know whether he is still within a touching distance of potentially taking Mark Sykes all the way to Daytona in that AM Championship crown battle. But of course, we will have that shuffle of what will be in the prime class, given the fact that Daniel Dan has really had the lion's share of the points versus Adam McNally, and also what was Lee Horn, but more on that in a week's time, ladies and gentlemen. As for now, the race does come to a close, and let's take you through those race results subject to Eddie Stewart's inquiries, and here they are. So after a thrilling final 15 laps of racing here at the Oran Park Raceway in Australia, from round number 9 of Season 6 of the NXTCC powered by IMB Racewear, as we can see, Reeswatt, your overall winner there, and prime winner as well for JW Motorsport by 2 seconds over SRO NXTGEN Gold's Adam Delmon. A further second to Matthew Addy for NXTGEN, who in the end couldn't quite get involved in that top 2 battle, but I don't think he'll complain, with a P3 overall and also a second place in the prime class. And then the Sim Racing Collective's Andrew Pike P4, just sneaking ahead of Matthew Sheraton, who took P5 in the end for Aztec Racing, who made his Audi as wide as humanly possible, but not wide enough to keep Pike behind. Meanwhile, it was wide enough to frustrate Benji McCluskey at P6 there for NXTGEN Pink, with Lee Horn for NXTGEN just behind P7, and we've just missed out on the prime podium that was comprised of Watt, Addy and Sheraton in the end. And from Horn, it was Joseph Doble ahead of brother Mikey, who completed P8, P9 for Doble Sim Racing, with Luciano Witvoet finishing at P10 there for World of Racing, and doing everything he could to keep Wojciech Swirydowicz behind the end, to keep those points that he needs to go into that season finale, potentially as your P2 driver in the overall championship. Toby Prosser at P12 there for Aztec Racing in a battling race, but making his way up through to take P5 in the prime class, ahead of Kieran Smart in the late stages of Track Scotland, with Nick Clemens and Daniel Dannon completing a top 15 for iRacing Esports and Goldwyn Motorsport respectively. Russell Fowler P16 for Performance Esports ahead of Jamie Dory, with Duncan Moraes with his best result of the day at P18 there for Goldwyn Motorsport. And then we can see your top 20 being rounded off by Ben Altria and Sam Van Olst in a frustrated day for Ben Altria, no doubt about it, after that great start to his day in race 1. Race number 2 not coming forth, and having to battle his way into the top 20 at the end of the day. But from what is the top 20 completed by Sam Van Olst, Anna McNally P21 ahead of Mitchell West, with AM winner there, P23 James Mansesgal for Aztec Racing, keeping Mark Sykes behind by second at the checker flag for NXTGEN, and Gabriel Yilmaz completed the AM podium as Mansesgal, Sykes and Yilmaz with a 1-3 for Aztec Racing. Jonathan Collins, P26 for Whiskey Runner Racing, not quite on the pace at the top 3 in the AM class, but well clear the rest of his rivals, with Sam Smith P27 ahead of Patrick Falconer, and then your top 30 being completed by Stuart Winus and Craig Tillerson. Across the chat's gone down to P31 for 287 Motorsport ahead of Runner Motorsport's Matt Emmons, and he was your last lead that finisher, with a lap down to Dylan Mystery for Aztec Racing ahead of Roy Plummer, with Ian Manners, Luke Jones, and Alan McCain completing 1 lap down finishes to P37 for the iRacing Esports driver, and then 3 laps down for Isaac Doble there for Doble Sim Racing after his late shunt into the tyre barrier at turn number 1 and 2, and very unfortunate there for the 65 driver, and we'll hope he's all okay after that one because it was a nasty knock, no doubt about it. And then we also did see 8 laps down to take what will be a completed race. As he completed over half the race distance, it will be Alex Meredith there for NXTGEN. And then Jay Pitt will be at P40 there, 10 laps down, as will Tom Delaney and Kevin Smith, all 3 drivers retiring there on what was lap number 5. And then Mark Kent retiring after 3 laps turned. And he was your last classified driver, albeit will not be classified as a finisher. And Gavin Garner, P44 there, our race director for this evening. And therefore not on the theoretical grid. But there were 43 starters, and in the end, ladies and gentlemen, 39 finishers, of which 32 on the lead lap. And well, that brings to a close our racing here today at the one and only Oran Park Raceway circuit. And what a thrilling 3 races, no doubt about it, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely intense battling from lights out to checker flag. And indeed, we've seen some surprises here today, and it does mean we're going to be seeing what is a finely poised set of championships, particularly in the prime, and also what will be the AM classes going into that season finale. But ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, whilst we would normally at this point get ready to step away for post-round interviews, due to the fact that my voice is gradually giving way, and also the fact that we're not going to be able to continue the broadcast on for much longer, as unfortunately as a commentator, I do need to go to bed very shortly for my day job in the morning, unlike normal. Unfortunately, a change of circumstances for this week means that I do need to get to bed a little bit earlier. It does mean we are going to draw the racing and also the broadcast to a close. There won't be any post-round interviews this week, but there will be, we promise you, in round number 10, we'll be back with those interviews to see us out for the season. So therefore, for now, it is time for us to wrap up. And with that, thank you very much for watching. And if you have enjoyed today's broadcast, and you perhaps are sat there right now wanting to know more about the NXTGEN racing community, and perhaps about being on the grid for Season 7 of the NXTCC, which will be later on in this summer, no doubt about it, or perhaps you want to know about some of our other series, including our upcoming GT3 League, our prototype series, and plenty more that we have planned in the future on both iRacing and also R-Factor 2 and other simulator platforms, well, the first place to go to for all that information, plus plenty more, will be our official website, and that is at www.nextgenracing.co.uk. And as the website appears on the screen in front of you now, is the home of clean and fair sim racing for all. And if you want to find out about all of our series and everything in between, all that information is available on our website. And of course, you can go to the hot hub of what is NXTGEN Racing, which is our official Discord link there. You can see in the top right corner of your screen if you do want to be on the grid for any of our racing series. But if you don't want to go to our website necessarily, perhaps you're more of a social media person, then the best place to go to is our official Facebook group, and that's at facebook.com/groups/NXTGEN Racing. We can find out similar information to our website, but also you can find out a little bit more about the guys and girls behind the scenes that make up NXTGEN Racing and what we do, not just on the virtual circuit, but also the real world circuit, with a number of our staff members being track marshals, and on top of that as well, real life racing drivers. We'd also like to take a moment to say a big thank you to our sponsors for this season, and indeed continue our partnerships with Power Max, Next Level Racing, Mark Sykes Designs, Joyce Design, Sam Cases UK, Douglas Motorsport, Falconer PC Builds and Support, Benji Sim Photos, and last but not least, of course, our title sponsor for this season, and that is none other than IMB Racewear. And well, IMB Racewear are the sim racing and real life racing racewear provider that prides itself on individuality with their fully custom designs, enabling you to make the impact you have always wanted to on track, as their gear is designed for you by you. And so do head to their website, imbracewear.com, to find out more about IMB Racewear's fully customizable product range, which brings benefits you just cannot get from off-the-shelf products. The web address, once again, of course, ladies and gentlemen, imbracewear.com, and that's where you can find out all about their products. And thank you to them, of course, for being our title sponsor for this season. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, attention now turns to what will be our season finale, and that will be at the one and only Daytona International Speedway. And well, I'm very happy to say that just before we do step away, we couldn't quite step away without bringing you the provisional standings going into our season finale. Well, we are just getting those loaded in at the background. They are going to be with you very shortly, and we will walk you through those provisional standings going into the season finale in terms of what is our top 15s across the 3 Drivers' Championships, but also what will be the Teams Championship as well, and we will fill you in on those. And well, as we do, of course, Daytona yet to be featured on the calendar in the NXTCC. It has been in other series here at NXTGEN, but never in what is the NXTCC and the road course, with its mixture of 75% of the flat-out oval combined with the infield road layout, particularly its 2 tremendous hairpins, is going to give us an absolutely thrilling season finale. But in terms of how those championships are poised going into the finale, well, here we go first with the overall Drivers' Championship top 15. And as you can see, Wojciech Swirydowicz, your champion, we cannot be caught. But more importantly, in the battle for P2, Mikey Double's performances today have moved him into second place, ahead of Benji McCluskey and also Luciano Witvoet and Adam Delmont, who has now brought himself right back into that battle for P2. It is going to be a 4-way fight all the way to the conclusion. And with regards to our drivers there, who is going to be the one to bring it on home? On paper, of course, Mikey Doe will be the driver who will want to bring on home that P2 slot as defending champion. His defense hasn't been successful, but he'll want to have the bragging rights to be in the runner-up. But McCluskey has really been the driver to watch out for this season. He's been silent in the background and gradually climbed his way through the ranks. And Luciano Witvoet has worked hard, perhaps harder than anybody, in terms of making his way into that P4 position. And he'll feel as though he's got the right to be your P2 finisher ahead of Adam Delmont. And Delmont, in the meanwhile, always happy-go-lucky and putting in some great performances in the Honda that is outperforming its status in being perhaps one of the slower cars on the grid this season, but Delmont showing just how strong the Honda is. Me on the battle for P6, Jamie Dory with what was it, 0 points in both race 1 and 2. He falls to P6 and is only now 44 points clear of Kieran Sharp as he tries to fight his way up the order. And Isaac Dower, Joseph Dower and Lee Horn will complete the top 10 there. And Will Horn, your leading prime driver, has the rising presence of Andrew Pike right behind him, and Adam Manali as well in P12 ahead of Gavin Gardner. No points scored today, of course, with Gavin Gardner being race director and not on the grid. And then Reese Watt and Daniel Downing separated by only a point apiece, and will Watt equal on Gardner based on points, but behind based on result countback. That is how your top 15 is formulated. Indeed, the battle right now to be inside that top 10 at the finish is nip at the heels of Horn, but Horn will be hoping he's done enough to stay inside the top 10 when all is said and done at the end of Daytona. In the Pram class, meanwhile, as we can see here, Lee Horn leads going into that season finale. And, well, it does mean now, of course, with one drop round being applied, well, it's all about improving on points over the course of the season. And Horn with a staggering advantage of almost 100 points to Adam McNally. But whereas Daniel Downing is on the rise, and, well, the Goldwyn Motorsport driver may just be able to tilt the scales for at least P2. But could he make an absolute overhaul and come on home the winner come the end of the season? Well, Horn will feel as though he's the favourite, but McNally and Downing are going to push him all the way to the end. Reese Watt has moved up to P4, and he could be what is an element in that battle, albeit he is in theory able to reach the championship top, but he will require his top 3 roles to have an absolute nightmare of a Daytona. So his target, I suspect, will be to finish at least inside the top 3, if not take P2. And then Alex Meredith with misfortune in race number 3, only 783 points to his name, and therefore he'll now have to focus on keeping Matthew Addy at bay. With 11 points between the two of them, and then Stuart Winus not quite able to match his performances from the Hockenheim ring, and therefore falls to P7 on 737 points. 7 ahead of Nick Clibbins, meanwhile, and then Ben Altrier and Matthew Sherton complete the top 10. Eric Hemsenoon and Slamir Javosky not on the grid today, so they both drop outside the top 10. And there'll be Sam Van Olst, Sam Smith, and Kieran Smart who complete the top 15. And as we come to the AM class, we can see Mark Sykes on 1,138 points with the performances from James Mazesgal today and how the drop scores are played. Well, Sykes is still ahead, but he has not sealed the crown with a round to spare. And indeed, it is going to be between the two of them. With Mazesgal 9, he's got to improve, and all Sykes needs to do is finish ahead of Mazesgal in each and every race and keep the Aztec Racing driver behind if he wants to take the crown for next gen. Jonathan Collins, meanwhile, on 905 points. He's still got Kratos and right hot on his heels as they fight for the 3rd place spot. And they've got got Kevin Smith, who had a difficult day today, no doubt about it, but still, he's 30 points behind and looking to charge after that P3 position. Matt Evans there as well, a late charge from the Rhino Motorsport driver with back-to-back wins in races 1 and 2. That's moved into P6 header Gabriel Yilmaz, with Roy Plummer, Daniel Fritz, and also Willis Mark Kent completing the top 10. There's Harney Bicknell P11 ahead of Darren Hills, with neither driver on the grid today due to personal circumstances, and then Costa Chatscon-Antonu, Riley Sheringham, and Tom Delaney complete the top 15. But then coming on to what is your team's championship top 10. And we can see NXTGEN Pink's advantages could be completely eradicated going into the season finale. They have only got 15 points now over Doble Sim Racing ahead of Semper Racing. And, well, it does mean that the defending champions have got it all to do to hold off Doble Sim Racing, who are chasing their maiden crown and continue to hustle after it, with Semper Racing, meanwhile, firmly in that P3 slot. And, well, they'll be looking to consolidate that come at the close. The Sim Racing Collective, they hold off NXTGEN as they move into P4 now, the Sim Racing Collective. And they are ahead by what is the best part of 52 points, with SL in NXTGEN Gold only a further 6 behind, so it's getting very tight in the battle for P4, with JW Motorsport in the clear versus iRacing Esports, it would seem, and then VB Fusion, the world of racing, now falling into the clutches of Goldwyn Motorsport, who've closed the delta, and that fight for P9 will go all the way to the finish. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm being told there by Andrew Pite in the YouTube chat to go to bed, indeed it is my bedtime. Indeed, for many of drivers it will be. But indeed, thank you for watching it once again. And well, as we do head to Daytona International Speedway, it's all to a conclude there. 3 championships still wide open, and 1 venue will bring it down. And it will be under the Sunshine State of Florida that we bring Season 6 to a close. But who will be our Prime, AM, and Teams champions? We'll find out then on Tuesday, the 28th of May. But until then, we've been NXTGEN Racing. I've been your host and commentator, Paul TX141 Walsh, also known as Britain, depending on what media you follow me on. And until next time, remember to stay safe, stay well, stay smiling, but most importantly, remember to stay on track. Good night.